I'm Anthony Shetler, and this is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode. Check out ALLiNEEDSKATE.com for epic skate videos of the crew, our skateboards, and apparel. Hell yeah, Tom. Let's start with a little cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for making some time out today on Sunday? Saturday. I'm a day ahead. Dude, thanks for making time to come hang out and be on the podcast.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Anthony. Exciting.
Oh, dude. We were just talking a little bit before we started recording, and I was saying how I haven't had a drink in a while, and it's nice to feel well enough to be like, oh, I want to have a drink or two and just, like, hang out, you know? Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, same here. I was talking about how I took a lot of time off from drinking, which was good for me to reset after, growing up Irish. And,
there you go. Yeah.
And taking a year and a half off and resetting the whole clock. And now it's just like, special occasions. You know, when it's, celebratory. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. So where I wanted to start this was, I know you're from around here, right? Like, not too far?
I grew up in Attleboro. Yeah.
Sick. All right, so my first thought was like, you grew up in Attleboro. What was your parents like? And then work your way into finding skateboarding.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Attleboro, born in 71. So it was kind of, I guess, early 80s I got into skating. But my folks were great. I guess the momentous thing is my father died when I was 14.
Yeah.
So that was, I had just actually gotten into skateboarding. Great parents. My mom still lives in Attleboro. I just came.
Awesome.
From seeing her. And so I've been skating maybe a year or two before he passed away. And, I guess I was in like 6th or 7th grade, maybe 7th grade, just started getting into it. And at this point, there was no way to learn tricks.
Yeah.
Other than from friends and things. There weren't any videos, I think, when we first started. There was maybe Trans World magazine.
Love Trans World.
How
do you remember how you got your first board?
Yes, I do. It's actually kind of maybe it's kind of silly when I look back on it, but I think I had a friend, John McCracken, moved back from California. He lived in San Francisco for a bit.
Well, that's sick. I love SF.
Yeah, and he brought skateboarding back with him, and at about the same time, Back to the Future came out.
Yes, Marty McFly, dude.
Yes, I think.
And
right
it had the
there.
hoverboard, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's was kind of those two things coming together. I painted the shed to earn enough money to buy my first setup.
Damn, sick.
My dad, and I said to my dad, I was like,
it's a good trade, right? How big was this shed, are we talking?
It was pretty good size. I mean, it was a shed, and it wasn't just like the trim, right? The whole thing needed painting.
Yeah.
And I said to my dad, I'm like, yeah, can I get I'm almost done. Can I get the cash now? And he's like, no, I know how you operate.
Try to get in advance.
He's like, you got to finish it before you get it. So, I worked my butt off. I got enough money. I think I went to Ann and Hope.
Oh yeah.
Are you old enough to remember Ann and Hope?
I don't know if I remember it or if I remember people talking about it, but Ann and Hope, yeah.
Yeah, it's this like cavernous place down in Pawtucket, I think.
All right, yeah.
Somehow I bought a full setup. It was terrible. Like it was like a Veriflex. There was no concave at the time.
Flat,
and it was complete, right? And it was, like it was a department store kind of skateboard.
Yeah, like a Walmart setup where it just kind of pancakes out right away. Yeah. It'll get you going, I guess, right?
And it did. It did. Totally got me going. And then my friend John, and then I started to meet some friends. I don't have clear memories of like all this stuff, but that was the starting point. And
it's sick when you meet friends too skating, because then it kind of just like turns into a habit, right? Like once you get homies and everyone's doing it, it's like the best.
It was absolutely. I mean, half of it's about hanging out with the homies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we got a good squad. So yeah, I think that's how it kind of got going. And there was a year or two, and then I was a freshman in high school. That's when I think I was a freshman. Anyways, that's when my dad died, and my mother was super supportive. So I actually built a half pipe in the side yard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, it was like 80s half pipe, right? So yeah, it was 8 feet wide.
Oh man.
And the quarter that we based it on was like there was a BMXer that quit BMXing and said we could have this quarter pipe.
Yeah.
So
That's how that works.
it
You're like, we're doing it.
we get it. So we another friend that had like a pickup truck. We went over there, and it was 8 feet tall.
Whoa, that's pretty heavy.
The quarter, and we
Yeah.
put it on the back of this like pickup truck, and somehow got it back to the house, and like part of the bottom collapsed. So we had to rebuild that. We put that, and I used that as the base to try and build the other quarter.
So it's just DIY as shit, right? Yeah.
I put the boards like you in the tranny you're supposed to have the boards like this, the strong side.
Yeah.
I had them all like this.
Oh shit.
was-
Dude, you're not the first.
It was like I was so DIY. And then the top layer, I put a layer of masonite on it.
Yeah.
And the first rain,
It just eats it.
garbage.
Yeah.
It was completely destroyed. And I didn't have any money left. And my brother did me a huge solid. So I came home one day, and he had bought like 3/4 inch or something. Like he bought all new plywood for
What
me.
a legend.
Yeah,
What a legend. Keep the session going.
So great.
That's
So,
sick, man.
Yeah,
What
that was
what happened to your father?
he had like a rare disease. It's called Whipple's disease. The real kind of upsetting thing about it is it's curable, but they couldn't figure out what he had. They misdiagnosed it. So
Yeah, that's rough.
and he had it for 6 years. So they treated it. He went up and down, and then he's in and out of the hospital in Boston for like a year and a half. Super like amazing father, but yeah, he suffered, and then he passed, and yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I only asked because I have similar story. Like my father, when I was 13, 12 going on 13, passed away too.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he?
It was like gang violence.
Oh, geez.
So he got shot.
I heard you tell that story once.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
But at that same time, it's like you're 12, 13, just going on like, and then I found like other people. Like I was just talking to someone the other day about this, and I realized like Steve Rodriguez from Fibro was like a surrogate father in that sense, because he was like sponsored me and like helped me out right around that same time, like 16. So 2 years later, it was like helped out a lot to have someone like that.
Yeah.
Do you have a stepdad or?
No. I temporarily, my mom remarried for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
It was not that cool. So, and then she's been pretty much single since. So, but a lot of great role models. Can I go back to that for a second?
Yeah.
So,
Whatever. It's a back and forth. I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 13, and how did you deal with that though? I mean, he was.
Like growing up, I had a lot of violence in my life just from like my parents. I thought about this the other day. I was like, I don't really even remember. I don't have memories of them really getting along ever. My dad and my mom, they're always fighting and separated. We were like bouncing around. And then at 13, when that happened, that was crazy. But that's like right when I found skating. And you said the same, right?
Yeah. Just before, like a year and a half before he passed away, I got into skateboarding.
Mine was literally like he got shot, and we had to go from Arizona to Massachusetts, and to New Hampshire, and I met a kid who was skating, and he gave me a board, and he was just super cool. That day I met him, super cool, gave me his extra setup, and then I never stopped skating. I just skated all the time. That was my coping mechanism with it, and it was like perfect timing. And it was like it immediately happened, which was insane.
Wow.
But it's crazy that it's sick that's there through that time, you know?
Yeah, it really makes a difference, having a crew of homies to hang out with.
Yeah.
Something to put your aggression into, or the anger.
Yeah. I did that a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say you must have been like, I think I was angry. I think I bottled a lot of stuff up for years and then dealt with it later. But
oh yeah, stuff still comes out, dude. Yeah,
totally right. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I cried for like 3 years. Like I totally bottled it up, and it was years later. But so like, were you really like angry at the world, like, or
so like I've always been an optimistic person. As a little kid, I always like super excited about life, and like I've always been like that, overexcited almost to a fault. So I don't know. And then my father, when I was younger, he like took me to church, and like it wasn't really what I learned at the church. It was just a rad place where people were chill, It wasn't like the teachings of the Bible or anything, but like just like a cool, calm place where people were hanging out. And that like left an impression on me, I was like, oh, and it's like simple concept of God is like a good idea, like, so I don't know. I had parts of my life where I was like depressed and suicidal, like for sure,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I always like there's so much good shit to focus on, If you can just get back to those things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
Was
just
he?
dealt through skating. Once I think I lost my father and my mom was crazy my whole life on drugs, so I just when I found skating, it was so cool. It was like enough to like hold your attention long. You're like, "Oh, this is endless."
Uh,
And then you're just like that's what helped me throughout all of it literally. And then all the cool people you meet,
yeah.
like the community of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps, man, for sure.
The community is huge. Were they like? Was he a good father to you up until the point that he was
Yeah.
killed?
So as crazy as my mom and dad never got along, and they would like fight with each other physically and mentally, and like. But I was so little, and then my mom would always talk shit on my dad super bad because like she didn't like him. They had issues. But my dad was like a good father to us. Like I never saw like any. He was in a gang and stuff, but he was like trying to leave the gang. Like when he had kids, it just kept catching up to him, and that's kind of what happened. Caught back up.
Oh man.
Because it's just like the relationships you make and what you're aiming at can just follow you. So, um, yeah, I loved both my parents a lot.
Yeah.
My mom was like off and on relationship, whereas like sometimes she was unhealthy for me. Other times I would go and like talk to her and try to be like a therapist and like work things out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
that
that
was the toughest relationship.
I think that makes a difference, or at least like I went through a lot of therapy years later because like
Like you went to a therapist and stuff?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
I always think about doing that like nowadays just to like, you know, can't hurt, right?
it can't hurt. That was yeah. I think like everybody could benefit. From
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like you get the opportunity. I think that they're professional and they're there to listen to you. Where like sometimes like your friends, family, you got all these kind of nuanced relationships. There's
Yeah.
things you can't share. And I went through many until I found one that was like amazing, and she really helped me find the coping mechanisms.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the things she said was that you know since you had such a good foundation, like your parents were great, and then your father died, but because he had such a normal sort of loving parents up to the point when everything went crazy at
Yeah.
adolescence. That's why you completely haven't lost your mind. Is kind of what she was saying, and I always look back to that. That's why I asked you the question. I'm like, your father must have loved you and treated you well, and your
Yeah.
mother, because even with what went wrong, you were able to become like you're a super positive person,
Yeah,
great to
yeah,
hang
yeah.
out with. You take care of people. It's like you must add something really great in the early years.
Yeah, my dad was super solid. Like he's just a loving, hardworking, like bare minimum type of dude. Like he would work. We lived in a motel in Arizona for a long time. He just did landscaping to live there, basically. We just hang out and play. And then my mom, like Lisa, at her best, was amazing. It was just she had no balance in life. She had substance abuse problems, things that happened to her, bad patterns, like wiring got fucked up as a kid, shit that happened.
Yeah.
And it's like then she had 5 kids with 3 different men.
Yeah.
And it's like she had a substance abuse problem, so the men she's picking is like my dad was in a gang, the other dudes like died, one was in prison for a long time, so it's just like I watched my mom play out all these scenarios. I learned a lot from my mom.
Yeah.
Not like what not to do and like what to be afraid of.
It
She
is.
was powerful creator and destroyer, dude. She was an amazing. Like I love. There's a lot of people like that are so amazing, but they gotta harness that and like discipline themselves and aim and take control of those things. It's hard when you losing someone at 14 could give you a sense of losing control involuntary. Like someone passes away and you're like, I have no control. Like life just happens.
Yeah.
That's like world altering shit that happens.
Yeah. You feel like that sense of like safety.
Yeah.
I think when bad things happen when you're young, you lose that like whoa. You're still kind of in the state of development, and now everything's gone haywire.
It opens it up raw, like a wall, like all your emotions, everything is raw because it's such a shock to the system. You're like, oh, this is heavier than you're supposed to handle.
Yeah.
Everyone faces that though at one point. Like no one's gotten out alive, so like letting go and losing things and like trying all that stuff.
It's true.
Yeah.
Definitely a part of life for sure. Wow.
It's good though if shit like you have a lot of trauma to like work through it with your body and like mentally and physically work through the trauma. That's what's good about skating.
Yeah, I think we need like, the physical activity. You
Definitely.
know, the I don't know. I'm not always trying to maintain balance, but it's like a certain level of exercise, you know, eating relatively well, sleeping, all those things. It's like what you lose one goes out of whack, and they can
Yeah.
kind of affect the others. And I think it's similar to sort of that emotional development. Is that, you know, something happens when you're young, you lose like a chunk of that, and then the other things you can drift towards things that'll make your life more chaotic. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
refinding that balance. That's what I loved about skateboarding. I think it was that one of two things I loved about skateboarding is one is, you know, a whole bunch actually. I could probably use my whole fist for this.
I get it.
It's the homies, right? It's the exercise for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of hated competitive sports. Like I liked playing baseball. I ran track in high school. I pole vaulted, all this kind of stuff. But there was that pressure of the one moment, you know, to kind of go and do it as a race. And what I loved about skateboarding is that you just kept trying a trick. You just would skate all day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can enter a competition, of course, and then you kind of have to be on your game. But I love the element of, you know, let's just keep doing it. And even if you land a trick, you know, you're not necessarily going to land it again, but you're not in a starting block or playing a game where it's like if you miss that pop-up, right? You lose the whole game, right?
Yeah.
That's not there in skateboarding, and that I really, really loved.
That means it's on your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool, because otherwise, that's half the thing with conventional sports, and I like them too, because I do like having rules imposed on me and structure and like a maze and stuff. But some of those things are taken over by adults, you know? Like skating could be an individual thing. Like you can just do it by yourself at your pace whenever you want. Like that's awesome, you know?
And it's pretty cool. It's funny you say about taken out by adults. And so do you know my son Ted? Have you ever met?
I've met him.
Yeah.
I've seen him like around the edge. I've never like I was gonna say at the beginning of this, it's cool to be able to sit down and talk to you, because we've seen each other a lot and skate a lot. But it's like you never sit down and like really hash things out, you know? But I'd same with him. Like I've seen him and said hi and like saw him at the edge.
Yeah. Okay. So you know who.
And everyone who's ever said anything about him said he's a solid kid, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, obviously my son, I'm a big fan.
That's good.
Yeah. But from all objective reports, he's a good kid.
Yeah. That's what I've had multiple people that I trust that know are like, yeah, he's an awesome kid. Like went out of their way to tell me that.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Yeah. Ted is it's funny how you have kids and you learn a lot of stuff, but Ted was playing like baseball early on, and one of the things that struck me, he was pretty good at baseball, but he was getting into scootering at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like a hardcore scooter, like, you know, that's his thing. And we would go from baseball to the skate park, and I just kind of was like thinking, I'm like, a lot of people think this, you know, like the skate park crew is like rough and you know, and you know, the tough kids or difficult kids or whatever. But the baseball environment was so much more.
Oh, really?
I mean, he was on good teams. The kids were great and stuff. But
compared to the skate park, though?
Compared to the skate park, I found the skate park, like, you know, like so much support for each other.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, you land a trick. He'd go there, and all the support he would get, whether we go to Rad at the time.
Oh, I was going to talk to you about Rad, too.
Yeah, that was, we were there all the time. It's like, man, guys just were like so supportive. And I thought it ironic. I'm like, you know, you got this sport where it's adults, and I did some like assistant coaching, and the coaches, you know, were great, but man, it was intense. There's all this sort of like parental oversight and tension, and the vibe was so much cooler, like chiller, more supportive at the skate park, which is what I grew up like with that experience too. But I don't think the public perception is always the same. You're like, oh,
no, 100%, yeah. I agree too. I think that's because there's a lot of people that go to the skate park and they're all different walks of life. So there's a lot of like people give each other space and skate each other, then cheer each other on, and you're kind of putting yourself out there by yourself to be at the park rolling around, you know. It's coolest when you see someone new rolling around. You're like, oh, it's the first time here, you know. Yeah. And you say hi, and then you're like, oh, we're skating together. You just meet someone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, skate park's awesome for that.
Yeah. I love that vibe.
It's not. It's maybe because there's not too many coaches.
There's not too many coaches, and that's the thing I was thinking about. It's kind of changed a little bit. Like when I was a kid, there were no parents, right? Like we went to the skate park, we would, you know, get on our boards, you know, push for 3 miles to get to, you know, a metal curb.
Me too.
You know?
Me too.
That was the other
New
one
Hampshire, we pushed to Ben Franklin's parking lot. Yeah, you just skate there all day.
One leg's huge from just pushing for 3 miles, right?
Dude, so much bigger.
Yeah, And no parents, no parents. And now it's like sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, I'm at the skate. Like, I love to be. What was great for me is I get to be around Ted all the time. So,
Yeah.
so he'd be there, learning scooter tricks. I'd be there skateboarding. We'd be there together. It was like, great growing up. But then I was just like, when I grew up, there was no. Not that if my father were alive, I don't think he would have been at the skate park anyways.
It was just different. I don't think it was as developed as it is now. Like maybe like there's more people involved now. Skateboarding back when I started for sure on the East Coast was not nearly as like many people, Like
Totally.
it's exploded in a sense of like sinking into culture, like more people skate. And you're even older than me, so how old are you?
50.
50. I'll be 40 this year.
40
10
this year.
years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
10 years.
You've beat me so far.
Well,
I'm
you
still
look
trying
great,
to catch
dude.
up.
I'm like, I would have, like, my wife's like, how old is he? I'm like, I think he said on the last podcast that he's going to be 40. And I always thought he was like 30.
People say that.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I skateboard a lot, so it keeps me young. Because even when like I got sponsored and got to skate like all day, like I was doing something I enjoy, like keeps you feeling young. So I think that keeps you young in some sense,
I think so.
Thanks. Thanks.
And you're amazing.
You look good. You look good too, bub.
Thanks. It's skateboarding. It keeps us young.
It is. It's that exercise. It's that physical exercise. I tell people that too. Like I'm like, you got to get your heart going. Like it's easy to just get caught into a routine and a pattern and not have that thing that like gets you out of that and moving.
Yeah.
Something creative.
I think that's one of the things that's great about skateboarding too is that, like, there's no other kind of like I used to like to mountain bike, but there's not a lot of other physical activities that I'll spend 3 hours doing.
Yeah.
And not get bored. And I mean, you feel beat up after 3 hours at Edge for sure, but it's a great beat up,
Yeah, definitely.
I can't imagine running or going to the gym for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, like an hour tops, and you're like, oh,
it's so boring, right?
Yeah.
What, I'm gonna go on the treadmill for another 45 minutes? No, I don't think so.
So true. Okay, let's go. I got a couple things. They're all firing right now. One is, do you ever wish your son skateboards?
No, I don't. I did at the very beginning have that kind of vibe. And then I saw, like, he skateboarded at the beginning. He can do a kickflip. Like
I imagine.
He's got the fundamentals, but
a lot of those scooter kids can.
Yeah.
Like they get on it and they can kickflip. I'm like, how? How are you not doing that?
Annoyed the heck out of me because like when he gets on and 2 days of trying, he's doing kickflips and kickflip varials. And I'm like, what the, But yeah, at first I felt that way, and we would skate in the driveway together. But then he gravitated, and I saw that the scooter was totally like his thing, and I've never wanted to try to like force my kids in it. It's got to be them. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And my thing is skateboarding, and it's enabled us to both go to the park together for so long.
You get to roll around together.
Get to roll around together.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's like so, and not to mention he's like. I think like the scooter kids now are a little bit like when we were in the 80s, or I'm a little older than you. The 80s, like skateboarding was kind of, there was the 70s sort of initial revolution of it. Then it kind of dipped, and then there was the 80s with the Bones Brigade.
Oh yeah.
That was just kind of skateboarding was like just starting to begin, and kids were getting really good at another level. I think as some of the scooter kids now, like with the flares, the double flares, some of the tricks they do. Like blows my mind, but that's all happened in the last like 6 or 7 years. It's gone from like the Razor to like, wow, like kids are crazy on the scooters now, and he's part of that generation. So in some ways, I'm like, it's really cool. You kind of reinvented the scooter, and Next Level did, and he's been a part of that. So yeah, I stopped, and also I thought about like growing up, it's like we were not hated. I mean, but. We were skate rats,
Yeah.
Skateboarding is not a crime sticker came out because you go anywhere and we get kicked out, or the police,
They just assume you're doing drugs. Or
Yeah.
You're going to steal or break something.
Yeah, we're the vandals and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're always treated like misfits to a degree. And I'm like, so I don't know. I appreciate any kind of sport that's different, that wants to evolve itself. So, indoor skate parks are hard to keep open. So scooter kids are coming and bringing money, keeping the park open.
Yeah.
It's like, we all win. Everybody wins. So no, I did for a blip like that, but it was maybe like 7-10 years ago that I felt that way. And then it's like, yeah, no, this is totally cool.
Yeah. My only grievance with scooter kids was that they'd want me to film them or like scootering, and I was like, I can't. Just 'cause I love something doesn't diminish what you do. I just don't have to enjoy it either. Like I can't. Like I can't. I've had kids ask me, and they're just good kids, you know. And they just I have been having bikers ask me to film too, and I don't mind filming them once in a while, but really I film 'cause I like filming skateboarding. Like that's like why I even bother filming, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause like otherwise, I wouldn't want to just film something I didn't like aesthetically enjoy to see, you know?
Yeah, it's authentic to you. I mean, you
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
pro skateboarder. You're, at 40, like you just bust. I was amazed. Like, oh, here comes Anthony. What? Which direction is he standing this
Oh,
way? Which
dude,
is switch?
thanks,
This,
man.
that. Yeah, yeah. I know it's amazing. So,
Same, dude. Every time you
yeah,
guys, your whole crew comes to the park, I'm like, these guys ripped. They all come out like there's energy, like everyone's doing tricks, like it's fucking sick.
we got a good crew.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
You met everyone from Rad, or is that where you guys really like?
Pretty much. I think I met John at Rad, obviously, and I met definitely Gene. Then I met Gene through Rad and John.
Dude, the when you walk into Rad, it was so sick because you just like felt like you're in another world, right?
Yeah.
And I walked in, I'm like, this is insane.
Well, John's like a mad scientist. I mean, he needs to create, right? He needs to build, and so he's either painting something in that skate park, or just kind of mad like, hey, what would this be like? I don't know if do you remember that float that really. I found it really difficult. Josh Brown's the only one I knew that could really like rip this, and John. But that kind of they kind of put it in towards the end. Did you skate a lot of Rad?
I skated there a good amount of time towards the end for sure.
You remember, like, so if you walked in, just to the left was kind of
The Euro Gap.
the Euro Gap,
Yeah.
right? And then to the left was the stairs, and then
Snake Run.
the Snake Run.
Dude,
Yeah,
dude, dude.
yeah. Why could I not remember the name? The Snake Run kind
Yeah.
of thing with the cinder blocks.
That thing
like,
was so sick. It
that's
was hard to skate for
hard,
sure.
hard to skate.
I filmed some Billy Drown there.
Really?
He did a sick line in that. I'll have to go back. It's in one of the vlogs from Rad, dude. But like, I think he did like a nollie flip in the middle of that thing somehow. Like, yeah,
We
dude.
got to bring that back out and put that out there because yeah, that was like John, I think, mad scientist's brain in
Yeah.
action. And I loved it, but I could never really get a good line. And then I saw Josh Brown, who worked there. He would rip that thing, and I was like, I just wanted to conquer it so bad. But
Yeah.
it was hard.
That was super hard. There's so many pockets and banks. You're like one way, this way. Like, it was the funnest thing at the park for sure.
Yeah.
And that they had the big wall ride with the fly box, and the wall ride thing was insane.
Yeah.
The speed hump. And that mini ramp was friggin' sick too. It had weird pockets.
I love
And
that
like, they did a lot of events there too, right? Like music and stuff too.
yeah, he'd set up bands up there, and he's always adding on to it and changing it. Like when I first went there, that bowl thing was just a kind of mini ramp.
Yeah.
And then he put the ends on it, and oh man, it was so. I don't know. I miss Rad a lot, but
Yeah.
I spent endless hours in the bowl. I kind of didn't do a lot of street skating in those years. I've kind of got back into more street skating, but I could spend all day, and it was birch too, which
Yeah.
is my favorite surface.
So fast, and it feels hard, and just like,
you never
yeah.
slip out on it, but
Yeah.
it's still really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, Birch is sick.
Jeez, I'm getting all like nostalgic for that right now.
Yeah, Rad was a sick skate park. Like, I didn't go that much, but I could just tell when I went there. I'm like, this is insane. This is like, what is it? And Peter Pan went to, like, with the Lost Boys. It, like, had that vibe.
The
Like,
little
Never
Never
Neverland.
Neverland.
Yeah, like, you walk in, and it's like everything's covered in art. The ramps are everywhere. Like, you just feel like, and then there was a good, like, mix of people that would go. You'd have music, you'd have young people dressing up, like older people, like it had every type of person. So you go in, you're like, what? This is insane, you know? Like, I just was like, this is awesome if you live near here. That's what I imagined, you know? It's a little far for me, but
Yeah, it's a trip for you.
I'm
really
so close
for
to
me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in Milford, so so good. But yeah, I met everybody there. I met Bob one night. Bob wasn't
Dude,
there.
Bob rips, dude. It's
Dude.
insane.
We call him the Wizard.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, because like whatever he does with his feet, I'm like, what was that? He's got some like nollie impossible, and then the next thing I know, he's hitting the wall and then shoving off the wall. Or
Yeah.
big spin off the wall. I'm like,
Dude, I've seen like NBDs from him, a bunch of never been done that I've never seen in person. You know, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
totally. Like,
That's
get my
sick.
slide rule out. I'm like, what was that? Slow mo it down, figure it. Oh, yeah, so much. And then I think I met Pat through them. I don't know if I met Pat at Rad before. But anyways, like everybody, Robbie, Bug, I met all
Yeah,
them
that's right.
at Rad, and geez, I'm probably forgetting like half the squad. But there's this guy Mark Peter Schmidt who I met there, and he quits. He's like our age. Well, I mean, somewhere between us. I think he's in his
I'll be
40s.
lucky to be 50, so I'll be there.
But I met that guy there, and he quit skating because at Rad he fell into one of the grind ledges, took a chunk out of his shin.
Oh God!
That like, man, it was made my stomach queasy. And then he quit after that. But now his daughter's like a skater or
Can't
scooter.
escape skateboarding,
And he's
dude.
back in. He's been in for 3 years now.
That's
He's
awesome.
over. He texted me this morning. He's like, I'm going to Uxbridge. Are you going? And I'm like, dude, no.
It's funny how that happens.
Kids brought you back in. But,
Dude, it's insane. Kids keep me in it. Just hanging out skating with kids keep me like excited for skateboarding. Watching those kids rip is insane.
Well, that whole group of young kids that that you're on top of there is they blew my mind every day.
Dude, it's the crew just keeps growing and they're all ripping. It's like insane, man. I just seen them all this morning. Sometimes it's so intense trying to film and get clips, and then other times it's like an orchestra and they're all killing it, you know? It's fucking insane.
I like the little bit parts like with Chloe. It's kind of like the creativity that like next thing what's Chloe doing now? Is she whipping down the aisle and you're trailing behind her, like that stuff. It reminds me of like the Lance Mountain. So do you remember the Bones Brigade?
All right, so I wanted you to go there a little bit because I wanted to kind of see what your influences were for your skating because you have a mix of tricks going that you too. You have tricks that I'm like, huh? Because I am I'm 90s.
Okay.
Like when I got into skating, it was even the end of the 90s. Because I was in New Hampshire learning all this stuff, and we were watching 4-on-1 Video Magazine. That was a big magazine, and that was just like everybody. And then the 2000s. So you're a little early.
Yeah, I'm like mid 80s.
But everyone I love grew up your age, and that still loves skateboarding. That are the legends. They grew up telling me about Bones Brigade.
Yeah. That was the game changer, I think. Again, my memory's a little cloudy, but it was when the Bones Brigade, like, VCR tapes came out.
Yeah,
right? It's like that was the first video stuff I had ever seen. Looking at stuff in a magazine, they used to have like the 6-frame.
I love sequences and stuff.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And trying to like figure out a trick off of the 6-frame. Chris Sedition, who runs the Past Participle, I assume you follow that Instagram.
I don't know if I do.
Oh, dude. All right, so
I'm on it.
Tony Hawk was talking about it last week on his podcast. It's Past Participle, and this guy from like Needham, sorry, Chris, if I got it wrong, but Chris Sedition created it, and it's all 80s photos. So people send him 80s photos of skateboarding, and that's what he puts in that feed.
Here, type that in so I don't butcher it.
Oh, now I gotta put my glasses on. Can we?
Oh, dude,
I don't look so old right now.
You look smart because you got glasses on. Kid's smart. He's not just struggling.
Oh yeah, you should be almost there. Let's see, past participle. If I can spell it correctly.
I know, no pressure.
Oh, it's the past participle.
I just want to follow it so I can definitely indulge because it's gonna be sick. I love photos and sequences. The 9 frames or 6 frames. Dude, Manny tricks were always super hard to decipher in the sequences. You're just following through, like.
Yeah, that was always like, trying to analyze it from that. Here it is, the passport. Got it.
Good looks.
So I didn't hit the follow button, but
nah, it's okay.
that's it. And
they got the follow. Oh, dude, the first photo's sick. It just looks like a flat ground boneless, but tweaked out.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
great if you're from the 80s. Like he's got a segment on like sketchy ramps and
so clean.
Oh, so much.
Oh, dude, a lot of hand plants. This is Bones Brigade inspired, huh? A lot of this is.
It's like that. It's the 80s vibe, right? And
seems awesome because sliding curbs, big boards, right?
Big boards,
shaped boards, a lot of shape boards.
Yeah, I grew up on the shape boards.
Sick.
I forget what I started with that
Sorry.
that flat Veriflex, but I think one of my first real boards was like the Lance Mountain Bones Brigade deck. And
Lance Mountain's so good, dude.
That's why when I see you like trailing Chloe, it reminds me of this. So like when Bones Brigade comes out, we go from the 6-frame like layout, which the reason I brought it up is because like Chris is a huge fan of that, who runs Past Participle. So I'll occasionally I cut up my videos into 6 frames,
Oh,
because I
sick.
know he'll like it, and he does the
Sick.
same. And I did one of Pat last year. That it was so fun. I'm like, Pat, can you post this? I cut up one of his
That's
tricks
sick.
into a 6 frame thing, and he posts. So, anyways, it harkens back to that day because trying to figure out a trick from the 6 frame, like what's he doing there, and nobody locally, like we're not California, so we don't. It's so hard to like learn this stuff. So then the Bones Brigade videos come out, and it's like there's a whole bunch of them up to like Animal Chin and the Bones Brigade like video show. Guys like Bob who have an encyclopedic memory of this stuff, or Mike Turbane obviously would know all the names of this stuff. But all those movies, suddenly you could watch like how a trick was done.
Yeah, yeah. That's game changing.
Game changing. And of course they were ripping, but like now you're seeing Rodney Mullen like, triple kick flip and all this stuff, and you can start to piece it together. But that was sort of what changed. That was our vibe. Like the Bones Brigade had personalities, and Lance Mountain, who was always pretty funny.
Yeah. He was in all the 4-in-1s. Like he did a lot of the intro stuff, and like
Oh, really?
that really got me psyched. A lot of my videos are based off like those 4-in-1s, just like skits and like little interviews and like antics, and then Lance would always do some fun stuff.
That was like, yeah, that that part of it, like the skate videos now are amazing, but some of them miss the personality, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when I see you like trailing Chloe and doing some of those fun things, it's like, oh, this reminds me of, when we were kids, it's like, do I want to be Lance Mountain? Do I want to be Tony Hawk, Christian Hosoi? Like,
Yeah.
it was always like in the early days, in the 80s, it was like, eventually it became Tony Hawk, super technical, but like he didn't seem to have like the style. So you're either like a Christian Hosoi fan or a Tony Hawk fan. I mean, you admired them both, of course,
But
but
you picked a
you
side.
kind of picked a side. And like Hosoi was
Fair
like
enough.
super style, right? And
Yeah.
he's gonna blast and all
Long hair,
that.
like Chrysaor's and
Yeah,
stuff.
and he's
Yeah.
got like his shirt, tied around his back or some kind of. So he's got
Some
a little
flair.
flair, right? Kind of like Caballero too.
Yeah, Tony Hawk's like eating Hot Pockets and like got a t-shirt on and just kind of ripping.
ripping. And Tony Hawk talks about those days too, like what people, the way they thought of him, and I love Tony Hawk,
That's endless. Even in video parts, you got like your fresh versus Hesh, like different styles and approaches, and they like that like almost battle,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
And when you're kids, you're always like, hey, who am I gonna be like? So,
And they were always really they were really probably battling each other on vert ramps.
yeah,
They're competitive.
definitely.
They
Yeah.
both were super competitive, right?
Yeah, in a lot of those contests in the '80s, it came down to Hawk and Hosoi.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, it was those two going against each other, and who would prevail, and but that was that was the foundation for, I think, my friends and I, what we got into.
That's sick.
And it that was the culture, right? It was a lot of the Bones Brigade stuff, and led into like H Street and Matt Hensley and Ray Barbie and
Dude, Ray
and
Barbie's
Danny
so
Way.
good. I mean, they're all so good, but Ray Barbie's heel flips,
Oh,
so good, man.
just his flow, going down the street and he's popping 3 different kinds of no complies
Yeah.
at full speed,
Yep.
right?
Such good style.
So stylish.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Ray Barbie. I definitely got to go back and watch. Remember the Firm videos? They had Ray used to ride for the Firm. Yeah, dude, destroying.
It's great stuff.
Those 4-in-1s are like that. They're just like awesome. They would do like checkouts of people. Like, do you remember? You ever seen any of my videos where I did like 5 tricks, 5 questions? I did them with like Chloe. I'll have to show you sometime.
Yeah.
But that was like 4-in-1 inspired. Just trying to come up with like cool little segments and skits and like mix it up when we want. Half the fun is that, and it's cool to show personality, not just like an onslaught of tricks,
Yeah.
because then you lose a little bit of the skating. Like half of skating is personality,
Yeah.
it's the people that do it,
Yeah.
so many different types of personalities. It's insane.
I'm glad you get that, and I love I like that about your videos, and I think that's really important. And not that I don't want to be an old fogey, but there was a little bit more of that in the Bones Brigade, and I love the technical, but I just love the personality too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like and the flair. I don't know if you watch. Do you watch any Roller Surfer? Are you a fan of
I don't know what's that.
Bob Koppel? He's he's just another guy I follow on Instagram, but he's got this kind of like not super technical, but super styly and a
Yeah.
personality. And his videos kind of have a little bit of a,
Those people are my
you know,
favorite.
yeah,
I like that too. I lean heavy on that because I love tricks. Don't get me wrong. Like when I was really on top of skateboarding, I knew every skater that was involved. I read all the magazines, the interviews. I watched everything that came out on DVD, VHS, like 4-in-1s. We watched all those. I knew everyone from different states, even countries. You're just like, who's this person into skating, you know? Uh, and the tricks were amazing, but I always liked like when someone had a story or a personality and they ripped. You know, you're like,
yeah.
oh, or they're just humorous or funny or just something, not just a trick, but they had something more. You know, there's a character behind the trick. You know, that always like helped me.
Same. I agree. And I think like all of the kids and all of the grown up skating have that story.
Yeah.
How do we get it out? How do we see a little bit more of it
Yeah,
in some
yeah.
of these
To show
edits?
it, yeah, because sometimes the videos get crazy. Like the 2000s, it was all just onslaught of like tricks and like skate porn almost, where it's just like like Jamie Thomas, like handrail, 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 handrail. It's like intense.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing how good kids are today. Like that's the thing. Like
yeah, it gets crazy.
God, it's like I got another buddy I grew up with. He still skates. He lives up in Maine now. My friend Scott, and he'll send me clips and it'll be just like how
Yeah.
because when we grew up, it's like it was so hard to kind of learn these things, and now just it's mind blowing how good the skaters are. Like it,
So for reference, like for when I was like thinking about the gnarly, so I'd think about a 15 stair handrail and maybe you'd like do a trick on that, like maybe. And then it got to the point where they're doing like double kinked rails and then there's a gap and then another rail and you're like, how are they grinding a double kink all in up, grinding another? It's like doesn't even make sense.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, what are the physics of all this? It's like
yeah. Doesn't
Captain America's shield. It's like that
yeah.
thing doesn't obey the laws of physics.
They're probably watching so much skating, consuming it, and then just skating all the time. So they're just like watching it, and they're like go out and just skate all them. Their whole life is just skateboarding.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. I respect it so much and appreciate it because, yeah, I mean, I'm not very technical, as you know. I love it. I'm like, I'm gonna figure out what I can do within my zone. And what's great about our crew too is they pass tricks. Like Bob's like, I got a trick that you should work on,
yeah,
and he knows me like that what my capability is and kind of plays to it. And that's such a that that whole crew, like all the crew, everybody
yeah.
around here is so supportive that way. And like I really appreciate that. Gene will send me a clip. He's like, dude, check this out. And I'm like, I think Gene's implying that I could probably figure this out.
Thanks, Gene.
Some kind of no comply idea. And so yeah, it's so great that
We have
way.
a really healthy skate community for sure. Like in New England, I'm really grateful for everything. Like that we see each other all over the place, you know. And then to have the edge is like epic too, you know. Just like when you had Rad, we had Skaters Island before too. That was sick. Everyone just in the winter meets up and like you get to know each other.
Where was Skaters Island? I don't.
Rhode Island. It was Middletown, Rhode Island.
Okay,
It was a sick park.
really?
Yeah, that was the edge before the edge.
What years was that
I'm
open?
so bad with time with years. It's a good question though. Let me see if I can find something online.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad with years too. I have no idea.
Dude, my time frame for years is always way off. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Um, but dude, that was the Skater's Edge before the Skater's Edge, basically. It was a huge park, and everybody would go there from all over New England because it was the big indoor park, you know?
How great is Skaters Edge, huh? It's been over like 20 years now. 20.
Yeah, it's been a long time, dude. It's definitely been a long time.
I love going there.
Let's see. Oh, dude, I forgot how sick it had a vert ramp at Skater's Island.
Oh,
It was sick, dude. It doesn't have the date. Let me see. Any years in this thing? No.
of course not.
Yeah, yeah. It's all right.
I bet there's like whoever's listening to this right now is like knows exactly. Somebody knows
Definitely.
that. Put it in the comments, please.
Please, yeah. I had to have been going there when I was like, so New Bedford, Skaters Island. Maybe I had to be like 15, 16. I feel like that. We would just go all the time, dude. I love that place. It was like a 45 minute drive and everyone lived there.
What's the most famous maybe skate park you've ever been to?
I don't
That
know
ha-
about the most famous.
One
Let's
that
see.
maybe isn't around anymore, or that you or is, like any in LA that you've been to, any kind of like Del Mar, those kind of
Oh, Del Mar.
legendary places?
I went to Kona. That's like the oldest skate park in the country,
Is
right?
it really? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I went there and skated around. It was so gnarly. I was a little too young to like really skate it the way I should have been skating it. It's hard to skate. It's
Is it?
huge.
Is it?
Yeah. That would probably be like one of the most famous ones. That one's insane. We drove across the country and stopped at. There's one in Denver. I believe they had a big skate park there. We stopped at one in Oh, the dogs are barking. Savages. You won't be able to really hear it though on the podcast because this happened last time. Yeah, we went to Louisville. Louisville is at the middle of the country. They opened up a big one out there that was pretty epic. California, Venice has a park out there, but I went before they built all the cool stuff. It was
Same.
way smaller, but it's still
Same here.
super fun, right?
Yeah, super fun.
That's
but
cool.
Same here. I didn't get there since they've like added on to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've definitely been to some older ones. Like I went to Europe. I'm just bad with names right now, but went through all there and skated some old skate parks and all through Europe. Went to Australia and skated some crazy skate parks out there. Yeah, man. I went to China twice and it was just everything was like a skate park. It's all marble and banks and like
And you
it's
can
like
skate it. They don't put you. In
for the most part, you could skate it, but then people would give you shit sometimes, and you'd have to kind of. They just do like we didn't have a translation, so they do like the X thing, try to get you to stop skating. You gotta like. A lot of times we were with a tour guide that would like speak. I believe it's Mandarin, and would talk to the security guard. Sometimes they'd let us, sometimes they wouldn't. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
But the whole place was like a skate park. It was insane.
Huh.
Just really amazing. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. Arizona has some amazing parks. I went to a bunch out there too. I don't know all the names.
I got the Tempe skate park.
Ooh, Tempe. Yep.
Yeah, last June I think, and I had to go at like
June. It was pretty hot, huh?
Yeah, I had to get like I think I was out there from 7 to 9. By 9 o'clock in the morning, it was like
blazing.
Yeah, totally blazing, but amazing little skate park. I think that one's been around for like years and years.
Yeah, I went to Tempe.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, I used to live there when I was younger too. When I was like before I was 12 years old. I lived in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to get heat stroke all the time.
Oh, did you?
Dude, it'd be like in the hundreds, and I'd be trying to play, and I don't stop, just pass out. Not good, dude.
I worked in a warehouse in Phoenix in 1998, and it was August. And,
Oh, my goodness.
And
dude.
it was a T-shirt printer, and they had the dryers going, 300-degree dryers, and I come home and scrape the salt. The printers were taking salt tablets to not dehydrate.
Oh, gnarly. You have to.
Yeah. That was brutal. I think I lost like 7 pounds in a day.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's pretty intense.
My wife said I look pretty good though.
She's like, you're Brad Pitt shredded.
She's like, you're in great shape then.
Fight Club shredded.
Yeah, I earned it,
Yeah, you're dehydrated. Everybody looks better dehydrated. That's hilarious.
Awesome.
Thanks for the painting too. So sick.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Tell me a little bit how that came into your life or how that happened. Because first, that seems amazing.
Oh, thanks. So I was, I actually was a fine art major in college.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I went to college in New Hampshire at a little tiny liberal arts school.
What was the spark for art? Like, what drew you that way?
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know. I think I got like I always like the creative side of things. I used to draw growing up, but I didn't do a lot of art in high school, and then I got into college, took a couple of art classes, and then next thing I know, I'm like, I can major in fine art here, and so I did a lot of painting then and drawing, and then screen printing, and after school, I was a screen printer for years, production artist, screen printing. I worked at ESP Solutions, was my first job out of college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was Dave Arnold there?
That was Dave Arnold.
Hell yeah. Dave's the man.
Yeah. You know Dave?
Yeah, I worked with Dave.
No kidding.
He doesn't work there anymore. He sold it to my friends, but
yeah,
Dave,
Noonan, right? Chris Noonan owns it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked
Chris
with
and Matt. Yeah, Matt runs it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I worked with Chris, was there at the time. I worked for David in high school, like
wow, that's so crazy.
or
Small
college,
world.
sorry. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Just hit me.
Is Susan Gula still there, by the way?
Yeah, Susan's awesome.
Oh, my God.
Me and her talk shit to each other all day.
That's all we did when I worked
She's
there.
a legend.
I got quite a story. That's.
Oh, of course.
Can I tell you this story?
Sure, sure. Susan's got sense of humor. She can take it.
I know. Yeah. I love Susan. So Susan was there and this woman, Nancy. And anyways, I was talking to Susan one day. And I was trying to, like, you know, to offend her, to get her. Like, to get her, you know, I think I'm like 22 at the time or 21. And she's telling me this story. Sorry, Susan, if you don't. That she's like.
She's tough.
How she and her husband are in, like, twin beds or something.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm trying to get her going. I'm like, I go, Susan, like, twin beds? I go, where do you have sex? Without a beat. Does not pause. She goes, Tom, that's what the kitchen table's for.
I love Susan. I love her.
I could never get her. I try to do that often.
She's good, dude.
Yeah,
we talk shit about politics. It's amazing. Yeah. It's so good. That sounds just like her.
Yeah.
She nailed it.
Nailed it.
Can't argue that.
I love Susan. Susan and Chris Noonan, and then, you know, at the time, Cindy and Nancy. There are a whole bunch of, the crew was great there. But, yeah, that was back in the early 90s, I think.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
Yeah.
And I ended up with ESP because when the recession happened, I lost my sponsors and then I needed a job. So I was working with the skate park a bit, and Carol Audley, who owns Skater's Edge, referred me to ESP.
Oh.
Her brother either owns the building or has a business out of there. I'm not sure which one. But and then I went to ESP and started working there at the end of the dryer, like catching, and then they suck you into doing everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you do everything.
I was probably the worst printer they ever saw. They put me off at like cleaning screens and production art because, like, I was just terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible screen printer. I hated the monotony of it or something. But yeah, that's funny. We share that.
Yeah,
I know you do all your stuff there. I didn't.
Yeah, like the warehouse for All I Need in World. I have like a section in the back there. Yeah, which is cool.
So
You have to come by someday.
yeah, I'd love to.
Usually after 5, most people are gone, but come and hang out, check it out.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen someone heat press a board. You've probably seen it on my Instagram, but you could do one yourself. It's kind of like a rites of passage. You know, you've been skateboarding.
I'd be up for that.
Dude, hell yeah.
Sounds great.
Dude, that's so funny about Susan. We always go back and forth because she leaned towards more towards like Trump a little bit. Like she'd lean that way a little bit, you know, not completely, but she'd lean that way. And then she'd always assume I was like leaning the other way just because I didn't like Trump, you know, because I was just like, I'm like, I don't lean either way, Susan. That's what you're missing. And she'd get she can never win because of that, you know. So we just go back and forth. It's so funny.
Oh, I gotta call Susan. I love Susan.
Just come by. You can come say hi for sure.
All right. Yeah.
She's there usually. So
Let's do it. But yeah, so that's how I got in. Like the funny thing is, I didn't paint or draw for years and years, and kind of like skateboarding. There's a big gap. I got out of shape. I was playing in bands. I was working.
How out of shape?
Pretty out of shape. Yeah. Like there's a good 10-year window where, you know, other than, you know, maybe playing a show.
Yeah.
That was all the exercise I got.
You were Pudgy Tom or what?
Oh yeah. A good 20 pounds. At one point I had a big like giant afro of red curly hair. My hair used to be red.
Whoa.
Years ago. And yeah, it was definitely not attractive. Not attractive. But I didn't paint or anything, and you know, I was working all the time and bands and the kids. And then what happened is my neighbor knew that I used to paint. She entered me into an art show, the Hopedale Day in the Park. She's like, "Oh, I signed you up for this."
Hopedale, right?
Hopedale.
Yeah.
And that's where the painting is. And it was like 2 months away. She's like, I guess you're going to have to paint something for the show. And I did. And that got me back into it. So,
sick.
So ever since, that was like 15 years ago.
And just like peeled the Band-Aid off real quick. Like, back in.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it again. So it's, you know, it's a hobby. I do it when I can find the time.
But it's amazing to me that you appreciate to find that time to do that, you know? Like, that's awesome.
It's another one of those things in like skateboarding. It's like it brings balance, mental balance.
Yeah,
like, even when my paintings come out terrible, I just feel better after.
Yeah.
It's kind of like skating. It's like, hey, I didn't land a trick, but just feel better for skateboarding.
Yeah. It's a
Same thing.
it's a worthy thing to focus your time on because it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Like it's like you look at it back at the end of your life and you're like, spend my time focused on like landscapes and things I like and drawing and painting. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. There's so much other destructive things people do nowadays that they focus on. And you're like, oh, just put it into something else, you know?
put it
Like,
into something else. That's the way
dude,
to put it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They
It's
don't all look that good though. I've got a lot of total dogs, but
oh, I'm sure it's like skating. Like some of my kickflips are just
I doubt it. I think all your
thanks.
kickflips are just fine, Anthony.
Depends on the day. Dude, seriously, nowadays, just 'cause my knee's so janky that, like, some days I go in and I'm like, I don't think I can even kickflip. I'm just like, don't even try. I'm like,
What's your like go to? I'm curious. Like I when I'm warming up or when I'm gravitating to a style of trick, you can probably tell like the stuff I kind of like. For you, where's your like comfort zone? Like what's something that you just feels you? It's your style. I see you do a lot of switch stuff. You kind of hit. There's a lot of things I see you hit the, like on the quarter at edge when I see you kind of drop in. Totally unique, but it seems like you go to a certain place. Where is that place?
I couldn't really tell you, but I'll know, like, what I can tell you is I'll come into the park and, depending on how busy it is, I'll just do a lap. I'll go all the way back, down past the bathrooms, around the corner past the wall ride, over the A-frame, kick turn, come all the way back, work my way back to the front desk, go out into the big space. If no one's there, then I'll just continue to lap around there, until I like run into someone or I'll see something I want to skate. And then, but usually like growing up, all I did was skate flat ground. So I used to love just flat ground. That was my favorite thing.
Just flat.
Yeah, flip tricks on flat ground were like the funnest thing. I could do them for hours. I would do frontside flips for like 2 hours straight. People would come up to me and be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, it just feels right now, And I would do that, and then I got into handrails a lot. So then that became like a super obsession with me was handrails and ledges, and then I went through like a rail phase. And then like nowadays, like it's more transition for sure, cause
Really?
like my knees hurt, so I can't always pop a kickflip every day or like my left knee, I tore my ACL like a long time ago
Ooh.
and I never got it fixed. I've told the story on the podcast,
You
but
never got it fixed. Does it
no.
technically need surgery?
So here's what happened. 16, I tore my ACL roughly. It was like 16, 17, and I didn't get it checked out or anything. I literally didn't have insurance, and I wasn't living at home. I was kind of homeless at the point because things were crazy at home and I was bouncing around. Luckily, my friend's family took me in and let me live with them. But so I tore my knee and then I just like didn't know. No one was putting any pressure to get it checked out. It was swollen for a long time. I iced it, rehabbed it, kept strengthening it. I would keep hurting it again and again for years. But literally everything I did on my skateboard, I got sponsored, turned AM and pro with no ACL on my left knee.
Wow.
And I never got it fixed. When I turned pro for World Industries, when I was like 26, 27, I was getting like a good paycheck, so I just went and got it checked. And they were like, told me it was torn, but it's been so long. It was like 10 years, whatever, 20 years. It was a long time later. And they said they could do a scope. So I did a scope. They went in, cleaned it out, and it felt amazing after a while.
Huh.
But now it's just like bone on bone. Like, so the impact. Like, so if I jump a lot, it's just bone getting bruised, like it hurts. So it's
Yeah.
like there's only so much I can do with that. But I did that coming up skating a lot. Like my whole pro career and AM career, I was grinding big handrails and doing big gaps, and like I got paid to just travel and skate and see how far I could take things, And all I wanted to do at that time was skate too, so I was overindulgent. So I got that out of my system, So now it's like just rolling around and like trying to organically feel what I want to skate, I start on flat, roll around. I love skating flat ground, so that's a win. Quarter pipes are super fun. I hit the handrail the other day. My knee was feeling good, and I was like feeling kind of ballsy, and I was like, I'm gonna hit that. But I know there's like diminishing returns, so I'm trying to like just keep it low impact as much as possible. That's why I actually film a lot and edit and do podcasts. Is like it still like lets me stay creative and involved in skating, and I don't have to be on my board like as much, because I still have that like instinct to want to like get gnarly on a skateboard.
So you're keeping yourself in check by like, I'll be around skateboarding, but I'm gonna do some filming, some
Yeah,
podcasting, editing,
because
put it
if I
together.
just focus on the skating and my skating, I'll get carried away. Because it's hard. There's a lot of energy, people. Like, I'm still capable of doing this stuff, like, in my mind, and the muscle memory's still there on certain days. But, like, there's going to be a point where I just get hurt again, you know? And I don't want it. I've seen that happen,
Yeah.
where, like, the person, like, still tries to be the pro. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have, like, a gnarly injury, you know, unnecessarily, just because I want to keep getting gnarly on a skateboard, you know? And I know that my knee hurts. And it's just being there is fun in general. I've always used skating as a way of like a coping mechanism, just to like meet people and like just hang out, have a place to hang out, you know? So I love skateboarding for more than just the tricks too. So I've been learning to let go of some of the stuff, which sucks. But it's all right. I watch kids do it now. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Seems pretty wise, right? Keep that level playing field, right?
Yeah.
Not too many highs, too many lows.
The goal is to keep it in my life as long as possible, which would be amazing. And I've already been fortunate enough that I got to travel and do all, like, I've filmed video parts for decades. And I was like, I feel pretty accomplished with what I wanted to do on my skateboard. Because I always, like, loved the fact that you could learn something and then you could take it as far as you wanted. Like in certain tricks, you know, like a kickflip. I tried to do that on as many gnarly spots I could find that I was like, this is where a kickflip should happen. So I'd go do that.
And you've done it all, so you know you can do it. So now it's like what you kind of want to do, pick and choose.
Yeah, now I just like, I'm
You don't
trying
have
to.
any like huge aspirations, like, oh, I got to do.
No. My dreams now are like to take kids on more trips and watch them do it, you know, because that's the coolest shit now. Like, that's why I got the minivan, because I'm like, it's cool to watch them to develop and try to help give an opportunity to like take them to a new skate park or network for them, let them meet people, and then you have a whole crew and we're all going to different events and like building something like a scene, you know. And those kids are so good and they feed off each other, and it's just like sometimes you just gotta gather them in one space somewhere new and let them go, you know. It's crazy, man.
Gather in one space and let them go.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love that.
Yeah, I'll take them to skate parks and they'll like make a bunch of friends, and like new parks went to Motion, they made a bunch of friends, killed the park. Then we went to the Portland main park and they did the same thing, met a bunch of friends, killed the park. We filmed the whole edit, had a good meal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like but that's like my whole obsession. And then like skateboarding, like the brands like World Industries and All I Need and the artwork and focusing on like keeping that going and like yeah.
You're like our own East Coast Stacy Peralta here.
Dude, hell yeah. That's sick. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, absolutely.
I just want to keep it going because skateboarding like really helps all of us, you know, like, and if I can play a part and like keep it in my life and we can keep creating more art and more people that love skating and more opportunity with travel and collaboration and videos and the podcast, like I love all the stuff we're doing.
Kind of think about how many crews there are here and how everyone kind of like works together. You know, you got what you're doing with everybody and all those kids, and then you got, you know, Robbie and Bug building Uxbridge.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Man, like I admire what they've done so much, and just imagine the headaches they have to deal with, right? They built a public skate park, right? They've had to deal with the town and all of the complexity there, and then you got people there and the amount of trash they leave, like just all of that. Like, I'm like, wow, it's amazing what they've done. And then you got Mikey with the Vulture crew.
Hell yeah.
Right. And then little pockets, like I think we got a little squad of friends that, you know, always hang out together, and everyone kind of mixes and get that. It's just really, really nice.
It's insane. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah, I love that aspect of skating. It's so cool. Yeah, it's crazy. Like with the brand and with skating and all that stuff and the filming and the editing, I've been skating with like the first wave of All I Need kids from when they were little, like Billy and Evan and all them. They were like the little groms, and then now they're like the gnarly pros, you know? It's weird to see like another wave of little kids come through now, which is awesome. It's weird. Skating goes ups and downs, you know, all the time. I don't know what else to do with my time, really. Everything I do, I just wanted to have skating involved. If I'm going to work, I want to work at something with skateboarding, you know? Because why not? It's possible. You just have to build it and, like, want to do it, you know? Half the reason things fail is because you lose interest or, like, you didn't stay engaged with it enough. So I always just try to, like, focus on the things that, like, help.
Yeah.
help you get through the day
We've
and
definitely
enjoy it.
done that too. I think one of my first memories of Rad was walking in and being like, "What's this all I need thing?" You know,
Yeah, hell yeah.
not Rad. Sorry, Skater's Edge. Like,
Oh, okay.
20 years ago or whatever. Like, I think this on the wall or something, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Early on, and now it's just part of my psyche now. All I
Yeah,
need.
dude. I
Yeah.
appreciate the support too, man. Like repping All I Need and skating in the jams and like all those kids are amazing. I know you guys have influence skating with them too, so it's like cool to know that there's like healthy adults that are helping these kids out, you know? I love that about it, man. All those kids, it's like the more healthy, active adults they're around that are doing something creative and fun and like become their friends and not like their authority figure, you know, but their
Yeah.
friend and like the better they're all going to be. So, like, whenever I think of all you guys, that's what I think. I'm like, yeah, these guys are healthy, happy people. Like, they're out there moving their bodies. Everyone's got a story. Like, it's amazing to have good things in your life that you can create with. And, yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your crew is sick, man. Every time you guys come, ripping.
Man.
And I wish I had more time at Rad. The place was so fun. Do you
Yeah.
know what happened with it? What the demise was?
I don't know the details of it. I think like the building was sold, because it was owned by somebody else. Like
That happens, dude.
Yeah, I forget the details, but yeah, it was a bummer. And taking that place apart, I pitched in a little bit, but
Yeah.
but John built it solid, so it was a lot of work
It was
to
construction crew.
to take that thing down.
Do you remember Subliminal too? There used to be Subliminal Park.
I do remember it. I never got there though.
Oh, that one was fun for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Way
bummed.
way different than Rad, but its own thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Now we got a Worcester skate park coming.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like a donation base, maybe.
Um,
They're trying something like. Maybe I'm
I-
confusing to something else.
I think you're. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea.
Hmm.
I just saw the plans posted on Instagram that they're building
Houston Heckman's been talking about it. Really excited.
it. Yeah.
He's actually at Grind for Life contest, I think, right now down in Florida.
Is
Yeah,
he?
he's talking about going down there. I'm pretty sure he is.
God, he rips too. I remember met him at Rad too,
Oh, dude.
and it was just total ripper. So friendly. Like I still like. You appreciate when people are friendly, but I remember he was just like delightful to talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
And then kills it. And then when he's always at that what's that really like rundown sketchy park in Worcester now, Green.
So big. Yeah, I don't know the name, but it's like concrete, big cracks, and like it's a raw skate park.
Yeah, and he destroys it.
Of
Right,
course.
right.
Yeah, he's
I'm
really
like,
good.
dude.
Kid's
yeah.
a destroyer for sure. He's a nice kid too.
So
Every
nice.
time I see him, he seems just happy and like ripping usually.
Yeah,
Doing backflips over that like big quarter pipe out on the edge. So insane.
he likes to kill the really difficult things, like he shred the bowl, right?
Yeah.
The snowman bowl at Edge,
Which is difficult.
which is so difficult. And now there's like potholes in it, right? And still
Yeah.
he's tearing it up.
I filmed a gnarly line of him there like a month ago. He's killing it. Yeah, like dudes like that. That's why like gets me stoked. It's cool to watch dudes that you can tell need to do more with skating. Like my friend Evan is like that. You know Evan Mansalillo.
Yeah, just skated his deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
They didn't have. There wasn't another one at Edge. I picked up. I forget what board I'm skating now, but I loved the art on it. But I just love the feel of the thing too.
Oh,
Yeah,
sick.
so Evan, great deck. Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like that. He's like one of those kids. He's a grown adult, but like he's kind of a kid to me still, but he's a young adult. But he's one of those dudes that I'm like, we need to do more for Evan, cuz Evan like is gnarly on his skateboard, so he needs to travel more. He needs to go skate with people skating in other places and like do more of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz and Houston's like that too, where it's like, yeah, I was stoked he's traveling. Go meet other people and mix it up and get involved in other skate scenes and see what's out there, you know?
Yep.
That's what I did after I finished high school. I finished high school and I was like, I'm going to be a pro skateboarder. And no one was telling me not to. No one. That was my goal, and I was going, and no one was there. So I just went, did that, and the same thing. I just, like, started traveling. We drove across the country twice in, like, vans and just, like, did it, slept in parking lots and shit. Went out west, skated, met a bunch of people, like, best time of my life, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I want these dudes to continue to do, you know?
They got the skills. They're definitely capable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get out there.
Yeah.
So good.
And Houston's doing it now, and Evan's been ripping and meeting people, and now we got a van too, so definitely gonna branch out more and do more and more trips. So I want to take him back to Charm City in Baltimore. You ever been out there?
No.
Sick skate park. friend Jason Chapman owns a big ass skate park out there. It's kind of like the edge of Maryland.
Indoors? It's indoor
Yeah,
park?
indoors. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I want to go down to like North Carolina. Tons of good parks. Hit Virginia Beach. Work my way down there.
Yeah. I used to travel to Raleigh, Durham, North
Ooh,
Carolina
nice.
for work every 2 weeks. And I actually brought Ted with me a couple times. But yeah, there's like all these parks in Raleigh, Durham.
Yeah.
Indoor, outdoor, like a great like set of parks. And I'd bring my deck, and after work, I'd go and just skate another park.
That's
It
awesome.
really, really made travel, work travel anyways, a lot easier.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah,
They have a sick skate scene down that way.
I do.
It's crazy, man. A lot of cool shops down there too. We sometimes make it down to Florida, do like Surf Expo once in a while, and then we just street skate because Timmy Knuth, who rides for All I Need, is from Florida, Melbourne. He stays in Colorado and he goes to Melbourne once in a while.
Huh.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna finish this real quick.
Yes. Taking another sip myself.
Guinness. I really like Guinness because you can't get too drunk. It's too heavy. Just drink two. You're like,
And there's actually not that much alcohol in it. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Compared to like the IPAs today, they're like 9%. I think Guinness is like 5,
yeah.
maybe 5.5.
And it's just kind of bitter, and it's like you can take your time and sip it. It's like nice. It's a good beer. I had Guinness in Ireland for sure. Me and Westgate. There's a photo of us in Thrasher, and we both had Guinness mustaches when we were like mad little. We were like, it's the first time ever having a Guinness.
I
Dude, Westgate.
think it's what, 18 you can drink if you're 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you 18 or
No,
was it 15?
they were just sneaking us Guinness for sure, dude. The dudes on the trip, people were just. I met a lot of characters. Same in Australia too. It's kind of a little relaxed. At least back then it was.
Yeah.
Australia was a trip. Have you been out of the country?
I've been a couple of places. Yeah, I've been to. I've never been to Ireland, of all places. I want to go, but like.
Oh, dude, you could do that for
I
sure.
Need to get there.
There's probably some scenes to paint out there. I bet,
yeah.
right? Find some sick ass something to stare at.
Yeah.
Is that what you do for that, or you just like?
So it depends. Sometimes I'll go out and paint outside. That's totally therapeutic.
That seems
like,
amazing.
to set up. Yeah, set up outside a couple hours. It's sometimes harder because the light changes so quickly. You know, you got a whole rhythm. You got to work quickly. So I'll sometimes do that. Other times I'll do that and take a photo and then try to do a better version later. Sometimes I'll just, grab a photo. Kind of my favorite thing to do is like I'll cruise Facebook for friends that take really good photos of stuff.
Yeah.
And then use that to paint something. My brother-in-law just moved to southern France, and he posted a picture on Facebook. So I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cool scene, good composition. So I pulled that, I painted it. And he's like, can I have that? I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Sick.
So that's my approach. Yeah.
What were you using on that one? What's
That one, I think I took a picture of that, or I might have done like, they call it plein air painting when you paint outside, I think I did a plein air painting, and I also took a photo, and then I did another, and I think that's the one from, looking at the study I did and the photo together, and
Yeah, that's
so
sick,
that's
man.
in the studio, I think.
That's rad.
I did it like a year ago, so I don't exactly remember.
Yeah, that's cool. How often you get to paint?
I think I paint like, I don't know, 1 or 2 times a month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like session? Like how long? How do you
Um,
approach it? Do you go for a long time? You must.
Well, if it's in the studio, probably 2 to 3 hours maybe.
Seems about right.
Yeah, and then a live setup about the same, maybe like 2 hours. You got to work a little faster depending on, the day. But yeah, I can usually knock out a painting of that size, 2 to 3 hours, indoors or outdoors,
Sick.
give or take. Yeah.
Also, I wish I would have remembered, but it would have been awesome if you brought the accordion.
Ah,
Dude, so
yeah,
sick.
Yeah.
How'd that come into your life? Is that an Irish thing? Is it an accordion? I don't know.
It's actually, well, there is Irish accordion stuff. How I got into it is I moved back home. It's when I was, I think, working for David Arnold, and my neighbor was like, let's start a band, right? I was 25, and I'm like, we don't play any instruments. And he's like,
That's
so,
a problem.
yeah, it's a problem. We laugh about it. And then,
Can you hand me Guinness too? Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
yeah, absolutely.
I'll grab another one.
Um,
No instruments, you're in fucking trouble, dude. You're starting a band.
He's like, let's start a band. I'm like, we don't play. And he kept bothering me. And I'm like, no. And then finally, like one time he's like, let's do it. I'm like, well, what are you going to play? He's like, I'll learn how to play the bass. And I said, okay, but I'm going to learn how to play the accordion. He's like, dude, it's going to be a punk band. And I'm like, and the reason
He's like, I'm going to slap the bass and you win accordion.
He's like, what? And the reason I picked it, because I was the Pogues were my favorite band growing up. Do you know
sick.
the Pogues?
I don't think so. I'm gonna now. The Pogues, P-O-G-S?
Yeah, P-O-G-U-E-S.
U-E-S.
Yeah.
P-O-G-U-E-S. Pogues. Okay.
Pogues, yeah. It comes from the original name of the band was Pogue Mahone, which is Gaelic for Kiss My Ass.
Oh, nice.
And they were
Punk band.
they were basically a punk. They were Shane MacGowan, who started the band, was the he came out of the punk scene in the UK, and he was also Irish. So they basically played traditional Irish instruments, but wrote kind of punkish music and lyrics to it.
That already sounds sick.
Yeah,
I can picture it.
It's maybe not as heavy as you think, but it is got an edge to it.
Some piss and vinegar or what?
Definitely.
A little
yeah,
angry?
Yeah, it's like the Dropkick Murphys kind of came out of like a Pogues thing, but added like electric guitar. It was
A little more commercialized.
yeah, they came like 20 years later, 15 years, but the Pogues kind of started that kind of thing, and I was a huge fan. So, and they had an accordion. So
What?
and he's amazing. I've met him a few times. Super great
What?
guy too.
Sick.
Yeah. So
Where were they from? Ireland?
Actually, the UK.
UK.
They had like some people were from Ireland, moved to the UK, but they were like a London Irish kind of punk band.
And that's why you picked accordion, huh?
Yeah, that's why I picked it, because I just loved it. I was fascinated. I'm like, that sounds really cool. So, and then my brother was like, we need a drummer, and my brother's like, I'll learn how to play the drums, but we didn't know what to do, and I stumbled into a friend, Mike Atwood from high school, at a bar, and I was telling him we want to start a band. He's like, oh, I write songs,
What? That's how that happens, dude.
Next thing you know, we're a band. That's Big Amp Envy. I put it on Instagram.
Big Amp Envy?
Big Amp Envy.
That's awesome.
That was my first band. And we played kind of like pop songs with an accordion, pop like rock, punkish, kind of thing. But Mike wrote the songs, and then we all sort of figured out how to play our instruments, and
That's sick.
did that for a few years, give or take. And
Did you make an album?
we made an EP. Then we played live a lot, so I recorded a bunch of live stuff. I put all this on Spotify, and then about 10 years ago, Mike and I, the singer, we did put an album together, and we got a lot of musicians to kind of come in. So it's got, my brother's not on it, but our second drummer wasn't on it either. But we kind of got a bunch together. So on Spotify, there's an album called Penance that is basically an album. Yeah, but yeah.
I'm pulling it up, dude. I'm pulling it up, bro.
That was my first band. I've been in 3 bands since
What?
then. Yeah.
Dude,
2
sick.
bands.
No, what were the genres? Same?
The next band I moved to, we're friends that I still play in today. That's Slicey Jenkins.
Slicey Jenkins?
Yeah,
That's a
Slicey-
sick name.
Slicey
Tell me a little bit
Jenkins.
about Slicey Jenkins.
So Slicey Jenkins were other friends from like Attleboro, and we used to open for them as Big Amp Envy. And then as Big Amp Envy kind of, my brother moved to Texas and Mike moved to LA. And so we kind of split up. I joined Slicey Jenkins, and that's kind of like alt, rock kind of stuff.
But they needed an accordion.
A little accordion. I learned how to play the keyboard for that band too.
Oh,
So
sick.
it was a little of both. We played for years. It was 2 brothers, and then another guy, Carl, who's the sound guy, and then one of the brothers, Rick, who was the singer and guitarist. He died in 2005 at 30.
Oh, man.
30 years old.
That's way too young.
Yeah, it was horrible, amazing person too. So, yeah, that was like 15 years ago that
Damn.
he died, right? His daughter's going to college now. She's like that age. She was 9 months old when he died. And yeah, just like it was a freak, like heart attack kind of thing. Like his arteries were too narrow and it spiked. And anyways,
You
yeah.
never know when you're going to go.
Yeah, that was awful. But so that was Slicey. But then we kind of then evolved. Like we didn't play for a couple of years, and then Pete, Rick's brother, who played bass at the time, he learned how to play acoustic guitar, and now he's the singer and acoustic guitar sort of front man. And then Carl, the sound guy, learned how to play bass. And then Adam, who was playing drums, has learned lead guitar. And then the original drummer from their band, because they were a band throughout the 90s before I ever joined them, their original drummer who left, he came back. He's a drummer. So now we've been playing together in this group for like another 15 years.
Damn, it's so hard to stay together for that long, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, we play out like once a year, and we practice like most Sundays in
Sick.
Carl's studio. And it's just kind of that, like, it's just time together, 3 hours every Sunday morning to play some music.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was in one other band, too. I don't know if you've heard of this band, the Gobshites.
Gobshites.
They were out of Foxborough. They've had a million different members. It's basically around one guy, and that was I was the first accordion player in that band, and that was the shtick was we're gonna play punk rock drinking songs with traditional instruments.
Oh, sick!
And Pete, the guy who founded that band, he was a Pogues fan too, kind of. He was also Meat Depressed, and anyway, so I joined that band for a while, and so we couldn't lose. We'd play pubs, drink a lot of Guinness, and play it with traditional instruments.
It's a win.
Yeah,
it's a win.
You could not lose a crowd with that. It was just fun. So I did that off and on, but my wife was threatening to divorce me if I didn't quit a band, because I was also working
I get that.
companies and stuff like that, and I was like, all right, I gotta settle down here. And too many hobbies in my life, Anthony.
Yeah, it's an abundance of good stuff. I get that. I'm similar.
What about you? Do you play music or anything?
I wish, dude. I listen to a lot of music. Lately, I've just been listening to a lot of Arcade Fire. I've been, really stuck on them. Before that was Florence and the Machine.
Oh, big fan.
Dude, all that. And then before that was First Aid Kit. It's
Oh.
two girls that I think they're sisters that harmonize.
I don't know them.
And it's kind of folky, but, every song is... Westgate told me about it. He said his girl listened to it. And then I started listening to him. And then I just, I tend to just, find something I like and then drive it into the ground until it's annoying.
Yeah,
same. I can't help it. Yeah. And then you find something else, and you're like, oh, and you're searching for that thing that you're like, I can just I love albums all the way through. I don't want to have to skip. I just want someone that makes something like Arcade Fire. You can listen to whole albums,
Dude, we're the same person on some of these levels. I'm the same. Sick. I love a whole album, right?
Yeah, it's the best.
Start to finish.
Yeah. So I wish I could play music. To me, that is. I want to learn how to express myself better, half the reason of doing the podcast is to challenge myself, to have conversations with people and learn how to express myself better than I can, because we're always updating and evolving and telling our story, or we're telling a story about ourselves, or trying to figure out who we are, and you're evolving and changing all the time, and language is a moving thing, it's a living thing. So but to sing, to harmonize and have that confidence and define that, and that seems amazing to me, or to play an instrument and actually be able to understand the principles and stuff. I always want to focus on piano, that one always draws me, but I never do it. I have a problem is I'm stuck on skating, and then I built all these other things that I like that it's just not enough time in one day to do it all. But I admire people that do it,
Well,
so sick.
It's a risk, if you do get into it and if you get as intense about something else, you might lose some of this, right? That's my problem. I get distracted. I like to do so many things that I'm kind of not great at any one of them. I just am okay, and I've gotten comfortable with that, but it's definitely a risk. So you do this so well that as much as I want to see on an instrument, it might harm the podcast through the skating.
Or I've been filming a bunch. There's and I'm always working on those things, and it's to slide the time in there. I've been trying to read more. That's been good. I never really read that much, but I like trying to, and I want to learn to write better too. Just because I feel the more you can articulate yourself, the better, and I know writing is a form of thinking. Just like moving your body is a form of thinking. Your body and your mind is the same thing. It's inside your body. It's your body. Everyone likes to separate the two, but, and then writing out ideas seems really good. Learning a new instrument is a form of thinking and rhythms and patterns and
What about like art and graphics and things like that? Do you like create all the art for All I
So I
Need?
like have small little inputs on the graphics. Like me and my sales rep and my team, and we'll like come up with concepts, and they all are a little different. Sometimes someone will have an idea. Sometimes we'll just me, the artist, and my friend Conrad will come up with ideas. Um, but yeah, I just have influence like in the ideas. But Peter's like, I find people that can draw because like I'm like I want to find someone that drawing is their skateboarding, like skateboarding is for me. You know, like skateboarding is like the everything I like enjoy. So like if someone loves that about art and technically can draw it and like that like take the hours and do it, that's the proof. So I don't ever have any hand in that side, but I do like throw in a joke or something like some of the graphics like Billy's. I was like put a hot dog in there, the largemouth bass up there. Because we always bust Billy's balls for like he looked like a fat kid that loved hot dogs when he was younger, so we're always just like giving him shit for that. And then the hot dog joke caught on. I had all the Groms. Like we were in New Hampshire one time, and Chloe and all them got a hot bunch of raw hot dogs, and Billy was sleeping, and just like hit him in the face with hot dogs, dude. Just like kept the joke alive. Another generation. He's a good sport. But like, yeah, I'll have like some input in that. I was working on a graphic with Nick Barth too.
Oh yeah.
He draws, and he got a tablet and can digitize his work, and we've been working on an All I Need graphic, just going back and forth. Like he had a concept and he's been working on it, and then send it back to me, and I'd be like give him some feedback, and we just go back and forth. So
Yeah.
that's like that's the raddest process, you know. It's like have an idea, both you're excited on it, and then they start creating it, and then you have some feedback, and then it starts to mold into something, and you're like, wow, this is like went from a sketch to like almost a finished product, you know,
That's so
which is
cool.
cool to see. Yeah.
I like that. It sounds like you like Mike has a similar process. I think, not to speak for Mike Turbine, but with the
I think
vault.
he's talked about it actually on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And I love the way that he's like kind of directing these things, and then he's got like different artists kind of putting things together, and you get different flavor. But yeah, all the art that's on like All I Need, Vulture Crew. It's like fun to like watch it evolve and
Yeah.
the differences. And now I know the inside joke on that graphic.
Yeah, the hot dog. Billy always we give him shit all the time about it. And a lot of his boards had cigarettes in them, and he doesn't even smoke cigarettes, which is weird. So his new board that's coming out, we almost put a cigarette in it. And I was like, we can't put another cigarette on his board. He doesn't even smoke cigarettes, so that's out. Didn't happen. Yeah, that's the funnest part about doing the skateboarding stuff is like hanging out with artists and trying to create things. Like even like we're doing another Chloe bird. Chloe drew a bird, and we did some embroidery shirts, like a little capsule, like a year or two back, and it sold pretty well, which was amazing. So now we did a sticker, and then we updated her Chloe bird a little bit, and we're about to put out a sticker and another shirt for like springtime. So that's cool because she's always showing me her notebook, and she has all these drawings, and she's like coming up with like new ones. So it's cool to turn that into ideas. And then Barth is like getting into making graphics, and then I work with Peter, which is he teaches art, and he's done all the All I Need graphics and some of the world ones. So his whole life is art. So we've done over 10 years worth of art, you know, like that's the best part. And when I'm sitting there pressing boards and stuff, I'm just looking at all this art. I'm like surrounded by it. I'm like, this is amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
which
yeah.
is like it's beautiful to like look at all this stuff, and it helps with my sanity basically. And then I have this other dude, Matt MSX. He did some of the newer T-shirts for All I Need. We had like an Anchor T-shirt and the Shark one, and I met him, and he's really passionate about art and had cool designs, and we just started working on more stuff. In the beginning, we started with this dude Paul Francis Lambert. He's another artist. He's also a screen printer too, and he did some of our first graphics for All I Need. And then he moved, and I haven't seen him in a while. And then I met Peter, and we started making stuff with All I Need. And then he did some World, and then I met Matt, and then now there's like Chloe's getting involved, and Nick's getting some art going, and it's like sick. It gives me incentives to like want to keep creating stuff. Like even if it's just small runs, which most of it is, like small runs, just to like see it come to life, and then which is amazing, and it all pretty moves. It moves pretty well. So we've been able to keep creating for like a decade, like skateboard graphics, apparel, and it's been fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
and then
good.
the engine's like the team. Like we have the team, and they create the content, do the vlogs, and it's like everyone's involved and we're having fun traveling, and that kind of helps promote it, helps the sales because people know it's like authentic skateboarding brand. It's not, you actually just see the people involved. So that's been helping a lot. It's been a slow grind, man. I literally just took like my savings when the recession happened, and I just got a small run of t-shirts, and we learned how to like get them screen print and sell them. And then we've just been going since then.
Wow.
And I've been kind of fortunate in some sense. Like my mom passed, which is a negative, but she also left me some money, and I was able to get that heat press machine. So I was able to kind of do that myself, which really helped with the cutting costs and being able to like put a graphic on a board when it sells instead of like having to have all this inventory, and have like so many graphics, because they all don't sell, like some sell better than others. So like, but having that heat press machine's like I don't have to put the graphic onto the board until it's like sold. So that's like makes it a lot easier. I can be more precise. A lot of things you learn along the way, or you get lucky and you get a little bit of money and you can put it into the brand. I just got a van for all I need, so that just ensures more traveling. That was like my main focus is like, if we got the van, we got to use it. It means we got to go outside our area and go do stuff, and we've already been using it in between Corona, dodging the crazy world.
Yeah.
How'd you weather the whole mess? You're here, so
Yeah.
we're here still.
We survived so far. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Like everybody else. I mean, we just locked down and,
Submerged in painting and music and
painting and music. And in some ways, like, so it was good for my family life because I was traveling. I go to Canada a week or two a month, and I go to Raleigh-Durham a week or two. So when that's sort of what my clients expected. So when everything shut down, it was great in a lot of ways. So my kids had to stay home from school, so I got to see my kids for an extra year. I didn't think I'd see them.
That's rad. Like more of them.
More family time.
Yeah.
And then also I didn't travel, so I got to skateboard more. So COVID was amazing for like more time skateboarding. And now I've adapted. I kind of miss going some places to see more people. But the silver lining has been, more skateboarding, more time with my family. And still, none of my clients ended anything. They all have kept me on, and
that's awesome.
It's enabled sort of more work because, like, I'm not spending time traveling, so I can work for people during that time. So I picked up other clients. So yeah. It's been in that way, it's been a net positive.
That's what you want to hear, because like that we all have to adjust to that. The world just kind of like went upside down, and everyone just got to find a way to like make it work and keep things moving just in your time. How do you manage your time? Sometimes you're just in a rhythm, and then the world gets crazy. You're like, dude, what do we do here? It's easy to drift off and get lost in those moments. Yeah.
It's kind of like, why did I travel all this time when all this could have been done over a computer?
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow. I could have been home all this time. What the heck?
Yeah. It's never that easy. Things take time. It's insane. The technology stuff's crazy.
I'm going to have one more of these.
Please do. Tell me some more about growing up skating, dude. Tell me what some of your favorite tricks are. I can't believe you can do like a straight up hand plant. That always blows my mind. That's got to be like is it Mike V inspired? You a fan of Mike V? I used to make fun of Mike V a lot. I admire him, but I make fun of him.
You made fun, really?
Yeah, can't help it. I was a little snothead, bad kid. Make fun of Mike V. But I've always admired him. Like his skating, like in ways, his skating and his story has kind of helped me.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I talked more shit on Mike V. It was more because he would just like be aggressive and kind of. And I get that he's a punk rocker and like he's against the grain and stuff. But like I was like a young kid that didn't want to see violence in skateboarding or fighting, and it was just me being petty. So I was just like bully him, bully the bully, dude.
Yeah, same. I think he's evolved quite a bit.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I hate to pigeonhole him,
and I appreciate that about him. But yeah, I do. I love his style, like his, the street plants. I'm definitely something like. Somehow I can still do a street plant when warmed up properly. Yeah.
No, that's no joke, dude. It takes a lot to do that, man.
I was talking to Mike about it once, Mikey Turbane, and I'm like, it's kind of like there was a phase in the 80s when street plants were everything. Like, and I don't know, it was before Mike V too. I think, I don't know where it came from or who started it, but it was a thing, like trying to do a street plant. And but then it was kind of like, is it that technical? You know, you kind of go, it's, you know, the flip trick started to come in, and it was like, so it kind of went in and out. But I was saying to Mike like a year ago, I'm like, yeah, you know, should I even do it? It's kind of like a dorky trick. He's like, dude, you're the only one who can do them, so you should just do the street
So
plan.
true. So true.
I was like, oh, okay, good point.
Yeah.
And then Anders is so awesome. Like at the contest, right? He's like, you got to do a street, or he'll just yell at me.
Yeah, I will.
He knows I can't kickflip, so he'll be like, do a street plant, and I'll be like, all right, I can do that, you know. So I'll pop into one of those. I kind of want to get it more in control though. My actually the I fell a whole bunch of times in the last year, and every time I'd land on this elbow and it jammed my shoulder. So I'm trying to work it back to full.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to work into a you know what a ho-ho plan is?
I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Is it when you like? No, I don't know.
You
I'm just gonna say no.
Ho-ho plan is you do a street plant and you put it on, and then you put your second hand down. So you're doing a handstand with the board on, and then you.
That's a ho-ho?
And then you grab, then you. So if you go in a street plant on your right hand, you put it up, and then you keep your left hand and you grab your indie grab, and you come down from it. And guys do it on vert ramps and stuff too, but
that's insane. Your hand, double hand, and the board's up there, and then you grab it and pull in.
You come back down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Andy Mack does them still. Like you see, like if we want to look one up, it's probably Andy McDonald.
Hell yeah.
But that's kind of where I want to get back to. Like, can I get into a squat enough and do a ho-ho plant would be like, you know, the dream next level for the street plant thing. But yeah, I love that. I love, you know, the backside boneless is kind of my favorite.
Can't do it.
Thing. You can't do it.
I mean, I can do it, but it's like mad slow and like sloppy and like.
If you practice, you'd probably do it in 10 minutes.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Maybe, but like Chloe's always trying to get me to try it, but like. That's kind of my like knee that is like to jump back over.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like I could probably do it, but it's not gonna be like comfortable, you know? Yeah.
Don't mess that knee up.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of why I can do it the other way, but that way, for whatever reason, jumping back on just feels weird. Yeah.
Yeah, your knee's going this way, so it's gonna put pressure on the ACL, definitely.
Yeah. Or the lack of the ACL.
It's gonna put it on the bones. It's gonna grind that out.
It's amazing how steady it is. Like I worked the muscle above and below for years and years and years to the point where like it just stopped getting hurt, and it like felt really good. Once I cleaned it out, it was like I felt like it was brand new for a while. But then now it's like I don't really worry about it like moving a lot. Now I just worry about the impact, just the choo choo choo, you know. Which can hurt, you know. You ever had any gnarly injuries? Skating or not? You ever been in a car accident?
No.
Me neither, really. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock wood. I mean, when a little kid, tiny kid, I was in a car accident, but I don't remember it. But yeah, no, nothing major. You know, stitches here and there, maybe, and I broke my arm actually. The only I guess maybe one funny story is like I was getting back into skating, getting back into shape, and I flew out to California to see a friend, my friend Scott, who was living out in LA at the time. And I'm packing up my skateboard gear. My wife's like, "What are you doing? You know, like you're gonna skateboard in California?" I'm like, "Yeah, Scott's gonna take me to the Glendale skate park." And she's just like, "You're gonna break your arm."
Oh, dude, knock on wood.
And I'm like, "Honey," so I broke my arm when I was there. She called it
so bad,
so bad. I was not in good skateboarding shape. I was just getting back into it. And Glendale is a pretty, you know, I mean, it's not for California, it's not a crazy park, but for me, it was a big concrete park. Yeah, and I fell down and I slapped my arm and ended up just, you know, it was a hairline or something, but it was a full snap, but it was clean.
Oh, that's good.
And it was, so I broke my arm.
Yeah.
But that's probably it. You know, I tweaked my knee at edge a little bit.
That's amazing. For how long have you been skating?
Well, you know, I had that many years where I didn't do much, but yeah, since the mid '80s, I guess I started skateboarding.
Dude, yeah, that's amazing. Skateboarding's a dangerous thing, you know. If you keep it in your life long enough, you're bound to take some L's. But that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, no, I've been fortunate, but you know what I do, the extent of what I do, and I'm wearing like a suit of armor out at Edge. I got knee pads on, I got a helmet, and
smart.
You know, for my age, I'm like, whatever will keep me skating more. Certainly not the picture of fashion. So I'm like, I might look like a dork with sweatpants on and knee pads, but I'll be here next week.
They had a lot of pads in Bones Brigade, no?
They did, yes.
They did, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
okay. It's kind of flair. Can be in some aspect, I guess.
Yeah, and I learned a knee slide. So, like, if I'm on a ramp, it's just automatic. So if I don't wear knee pads and I'm on, like, any kind of...
Yeah.
I'll just drop to my knees, and then it's,
That's
it's even
good.
worse if I don't
Yeah.
have the pads on. But I don't... Like, street skating, I kind of just wear the helmet.
Like fleck around,
Yeah, flat
pushing
ground
around and stuff.
Or
Yeah.
Uxbridge, I'll probably most of the time, unless I hit that little mini mega.
Yeah. No, that makes sense because it's low impact and you're not going to be falling on your knees and stuff like that. So, it's because sometimes those pads can hinder you when you bend down and they like feel kind of annoying and when you're popping ollies and stuff. Like,
Definitely street skating around there.
Yeah.
It's like restrictive, or you kind of run into each other. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's good to street skate without it on for sure.
Yeah.
My socks are from Chloe. And
Oh, really?
That's Elwood. And then that's Emma, dude.
Oh, nice.
She just got me some socks for, I think she was like Christmas or something. So
she's
sick.
the best, Chloe.
Yeah, she's my favorite skater
Yeah.
by far. Just her approach and her attitude, and she's like a little savage. She doesn't stop. She like keeps progressing and learning, and like good attitude. It's cool, man.
Yeah, she's delightful, and her mom is great, and yeah, she just goes and keeps working at it. Yeah, I'm a big Chloe fan too.
It's been rad watching her figure out lines, and like it's cool because now she knows she can film lines. Like at first it was just basic trick, but now she's got enough tricks that she can stretch them out and find these lines, which is really fun to film with her.
She's a beast too. I think like a year ago we were at Edge, and like Bob, Chloe, and I had like a battle of the fakey big spins.
Oh yeah,
Who could land one first?
yeah.
And I think Chloe won.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. She's got a mean fakey big spin. She's worked hard on it. She even did it the opposite way on the hip. The
Really?
hard way. Yeah.
The hard
so
way?
She did it the normal way out in front of her, and then she came back and did it like over the hip and spinned it and rode it. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. She's been learning like crazy. And now she's focused on ollies the fakey off of stuff. So like quarter pipe to a bank and ollie off the edge, land fakey in the bank and ride away.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is fun to film because she's getting like you can see the air, you know. Like she's been working on her ollies for a while, and they're like started really small, and now she's getting them to where you can see gaps, and like you're like, this is sick, you know.
I saw her ollie up something. I was like, whoa, that was...
Yeah.
I forget where it was, but it was a couple of steps like up something. It was... Or maybe it was the box in the little room.
Small room.
Yeah, did she ollied right on top of that? Am I right about that?
Her and like Elijah just constantly are trying to get ollies up those things, and they clip their truck a lot.
Yeah.
But then they'll get it. They've both got it good if they work at it.
It's a big ollie.
It's a beast for them.
Yeah.
They're so little, dude. I'm always amazed.
It's a big ollie for me.
Yeah.
I'm delighted when I can get up there.
Elijah's been killing it. He's been launching off at the edge. You know the bank to wall? The mellow bank and then the wall ride.
Oh, yeah.
Meets.
Yep.
He like ride into that now.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he's like a little kid. He's like 9 years old, dude. Little fetus throwing himself out there. It's insane, dude. It's so insane.
I saw Barth do on the quarter to wall to
Yep.
bank thing. I think he went a front side alley oop.
270.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good one of those.
Dude, it's so smooth.
He's got a crazy blunted fakie too. I don't know if you've ever seen it. He does a blunt on the quarter pipe, and when he pops out, he like kind of lands in power slide and then pulls it back in.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's insane. That one always blows my mind.
So many styly like riders out there. Do you know Josh Brown? Do you remember Josh Brown? He moved to. He's way up in Maine now.
Oh, right.
He worked at Rad. You maybe don't know.
I've probably met him though. I've probably seen him.
Probably seen him. He's got one of the coolest styles. Yeah, like he does the little wedge at Uxbridge.
Yep.
That little thing.
I love those things.
Like no comply, full speed over that thing and not lose
go off it?
Like off of it, no comply, full speed.
Yeah.
Like he's got all these kind of like, and just I don't know, that's just style.
Yeah.
Style, but
no, when you said no comply off something, I started remembering Ray Barbie's like no comply is like so good, dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, full speed down the street.
Yeah. Dude's a beast.
Fakey no comply shove. Keep going.
Let me see. I'm actually gonna pull up. What was the? Oh, let me do it. The Pogues. That's what I want to look at.
Go way back.
P-O-G-U-E-S, the Pogues.
Robbie's a big fan. Robbie and Bug. I know they.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Nice.
Robbie plays like 12 instruments. He can play
Does
the
he?
accordion better than I can.
Really?
Little bastard. And he's only been playing like a year.
How'd you meet them? Just through Uxbridge?
Through Rad. Yeah.
Oh, through Rad. That's right.
Yeah. Robbie and Bug were at Rad all the time.
That's right. Yeah.
And worked there too. So.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Robbie
yeah.
did.
And then they've been working on skate parks, like Uxbridge. I think they got another job recently to like build a skate park Robbie was talking about. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Their construction is like better than anything I've ever seen.
I mean, that Uxbridge part is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that mini mega, it's perfect. Like the angles on where the quarter meets,
Yeah.
or the hip, the way he bent I shouldn't say they bent that quarter, that coping around.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's like masterful.
It's
like
so
masterwork.
good. Yeah. And the mini ramp is perfect transitions, and all those quarter pipes are super fun. That other one that's like kind of tight and bigger, people blast airs on that thing.
That was an homage to geez, I don't remember. It was another guy named Josh, I think, who passed away. He was at Rad all the time, and he loved at Rad there was like a super steep quarter.
Yeah.
And he loved that thing, and so Robbie and Bug replicated that with that quarter.
That's sick.
I can barely get up that thing. It terrifies me.
It's hard,
It's
yeah.
like so steep.
Yeah, totally. It's like a tight quarter pipe. I watch Evan destroy it. He's a training guy.
Yeah.
He's insane. Yeah, when I heard about Tony Hawk, so Tony Hawk was on the Bones Brigade, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was before me. Mine was The End. You ever watch The End? Birdhouse video? Andrew Reynolds, Keith Kirchart, Willie Santos.
Maybe.
That's like when I was like paying attention to skate videos. And then like Tony did the 9. I didn't really care so much. I thought it was cool, but I wasn't like caught up in the contest wave of like the 900 or whatever. Got a little crazy. But that's the Tony Hawk that I was like psyched on was his vert skating. I miss vert skating. It's still out there, but it's like a lot of big concrete stuff now. But just like a basic vert ramp. Just like used to, like Bob Burnquist would kill him, Andy Mack.
Yeah.
Even with just all padded up. Channy, do you remember Channy used to own Expedition 1, which was a sick company. I miss vert skating for sure. I want to go to, there's a park nearby I'm trying to go to with a vert ramp. I think it's in New York.
Oh, yeah?
Substance? I think they have a vert ramp, so I want to take the Groms and bring Evan and have him destroy the vert ramp.
Yeah, that's way up there, isn't it? It's like a good 5 hours.
Something like that.
So.
Might be right in the city. It's like 4.5.
Yeah, Rye was the only place that had a
That's
vert
right.
ramp that I can remember.
Skaters Island had a vert ramp.
Did they?
Yeah, that was sick. It was crazy to watch.
Did you ever skate that vert ramp at Rye?
I skated it, but just like it was huge.
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's
dropping
like 14
in.
feet.
Yeah, like
14
dropping
feet.
in was scary, and I would just pump it and do airs below, way below. You know,
Yeah.
14 feet is
14
fucking terrifying.
Skate light too, so it was like
Yeah.
a sheet of glass. You know,
Yeah.
you needed kind of some soft wheels.
Skaters Island, I think, was like proper 12 feet. It wasn't like 14.
Yeah, the 14 foot with like 2 feet of vert on that thing. Oh,
It's too gnarly. There's like a limit. There's a limit, dude. For me, the mega jump stuff I would never do. It's too terrifying.
yeah, same.
They like launch and do 540s to grinds and slides. It's like unrelatable. It's amazing to watch, but it's too much for me.
Did you skate any vert? So you know, I know you.
Not
go down the
really.
street. No.
I could do like rock to fakies and 50-50 stalls and like, but I never like fully got into it. I just miss like seeing it and watching it. Like I used to like really like watching people skate vert ramps.
Yes.
The video aspects of it. I love vert ramp part. Sick.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tony Hawk did a lot of those. With
Tony
like
Hawk
Bucky Lassick too. Like did tons of that.
Yeah.
And Bob Burnquist is probably my favorite too.
That was all Bones. Bones Brigade was really heavy on the vert ramp.
A lot of
stuff.
spine ramps too, right?
A lot of spine ramps.
Verts and spine
A
ramps.
lot of vert, and that's when like Mike McGill invented the McTwist.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
I was still like, I remember when that was invented. Like that's
McGill has a skate shop, right? Mike McGill skate shop. I think he still has one out in Cali for a long time.
Yeah,
now.
out in Cali, right? Yeah.
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 That's crazy.
Yeah, he and Cab still, I think, hang out. So, yeah, the vert, I miss the vert too. It's kind of like, it's hard because you got to have a vert ramp. Right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
And we barely had ramps when I was growing up, and you'd see this. You're like, where do you find these ramps? I actually when I was in high school, I went out to Santa Cruz, like in the summer for a week, and we drove to Raging Waters, which I had seen like in Transworld. It was this mega like vert ramp that was like a big U.
Oh, no.
Right, and so we drove like an hour and a half. I'm like, let's go to Raging Waters. It was like a water park and then this super mega vert ramp.
They had a skate park at a water park?
At a water park.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Raging Waters, and it was in like all, in the mags and stuff. So I'm like, can we drive there? We're like an hour and a half from it, and they're like, yeah, we'll go. So we get there. They had taken it down.
Oh, bummer.
It was kind of like we just drove all
Bullshit.
here. And, oh, God, so
Heartbreaking.
yeah. So I bought a T-shirt. So I had a Raging Waters T-shirt. But I never saw the ramp.
Did you go on the Raging Waters at least? Just got the shirt?
No, I think I just got the shirt. I don't think we hit the water park. I think we bailed.
Bummer. Yeah, man. Vert ramps are hard to come by, dude. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what was cool about Skaters Island. There was a vert ramp, and there were these two brothers. They were like, I can't remember their names, but they were both amazing at vert skating. They were young, short, condensed, and could do the biggest airs ever. And one of them almost did a 900 before Tony Hawk did a 900.
What?
On that ramp.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't remember their names. I'm not gonna. They called them like the Flying blah 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 brothers. God, I can't remember the last name. But they destroyed it. And Crazy Horse used to work at Skater Island, and he was a vert skater. It was crazy watching him do stuff. Vert skating was kind of unrelatable, but amazing to watch. I was just more of a street skater.
Yeah.
Training scares me above 6 feet. 6 feet's my limit. That's my zone. Anything below 6 feet. After that, it's too scary.
Yeah.
That's why I never really rocked pads, because I was more of a street skater. If any pad I should have wore was a helmet, because I split my head open a few times and had staples.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but I just it only happened a couple times, and I got better, and I don't really fall on my head too much anymore.
That's good.
That one's kind of a tough one I deal with, because there's a lot of young dudes that charge and they hit their head, and I'm talking to him it's a trade-off, I get that you want to just charge on this big concrete and do crazy airs, but if you get hurt and hit your head a lot, it's becomes a problem, so
Yeah.
it's a trade-off.
Definitely gets scary, what's going to happen in the long term,
Yeah,
'cause you
yeah.
see CTE and all the bikers, how many bikers,
Dude,
from
the
CTE?
amount of damage bikers take is fucking unbelievable, dude. You'd think skateboarding's bad. You watch the bikers; might not take as many falls as us, but when they do take a fall,
Yeah, it's heavy.
yeah. I've seen a lot of bikers just fucking glassy-eyed, drooling, they took a slam and hit their head really hard. You're like, oh, dude, take some time off.
Yeah.
Lots.
Let that thing heal.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was fortunate in the sense that I had staples maybe 2 times, I think, and then
Did you just cut it open, or did you get a concussion, or both?
a little bit of both.
Well, both. Yeah.
But you don't even realize you have a concussion when you're the age I am, and then I just probably kept going, and then I got sick or something, and then you realize you got to take more time off or whatever, But definitely and then I haven't really had too much of that. And then some staples, and then the knee thing. Broke a toe that lasted a long time, 6 years of just dealing with a broken toe.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, probably should have got a pin, but
But
didn't want to stop, so we just fixed that toe. Eventually got it manageable where it works now, and it's doesn't get hurt. But for a long time, it would be take a lot of impact in the knuckle. It was the knuckle of the toe. So every time you'd take a lot of impact, it would move around because it would just be fractured or something. Yeah, dude. Gotta be tough. Gotta be tough. You gotta be tough.
Power through.
Yeah. I'm good now though, which is amazing. I've been really good about my body, trying to eat better, stretching, taking my time, mending the injuries I did have from just years of going at it. It's a trade-off, but the only thing that bums me out now is the knee. But it's really I'm almost 40. I shouldn't be skating 12-stair handrails. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe not.
Leave that to other people. I already did that.
Yeah, you have done it, so you
Yeah.
got that. Yeah, right.
So it's my skating's been pretty good. Just depends on the day. It's still arthritis. You just deal with that. You notice that? It's funny. Some of my best homies, days you're I can't do one single trick, and then like 2 days later you can land everything.
Oh,
And
definitely.
it's
Yeah.
like I swear it's the weather, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like super stiff, and other days you're like, I can do anything on my board. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's definitely a rhythm to it. Sometimes it's like it's just not happening.
yeah.
And
I've retired in my mind like 50,000 times. Like, oh, I can't do anything. What am I doing out here, dude? And then like you go out like 2 days later, you're like, well, I can fucking pop my board again, and I'm landing these tricks. Like,
yeah.
it's insane. It's such a mental battle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
part of skating that's torturous. It's insane, man.
Yeah, you can't overthink it, you know. It's still fun, then let's just keep going and maybe tomorrow you land everything, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I've been better about it. I just like, if it's not working, it's not working. Just accept it. When I was younger, I'd try to fight it all the time. That was another thing I would do too, is I'd fight my style on certain tricks. Like certain tricks just weren't like natural for me, and but I wanted to do those tricks so bad that I like kind of forced it in there, you know?
Mhm.
That's how I'd get hurt a lot too, is like trying to do stuff like, and then you learn, or I learned as I was older, I was like, no, just kind of go with what your body naturally likes, you know? Don't fight your style. That was something I learned a lot.
That's good advice.
It's
Yeah.
how it helped me, because like for a long time I was just like so stubborn, because you want to learn every trick, you know?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you you're just kind of fighting the way your mechanics work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes a lot of sense actually. Like I can yeah, I sometimes try like you know, I'm clearly not good at like flip tricks or like shove its things like that, but I kind of chip away at them in my garage to kind of get a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then I gravitate towards the bonelesses and the you know the things like that and um, like it's kind of this dual like I'm only going to get so good over here, but I kind of keep working at it, maybe
Yeah.
add a little bit of that to here and evolve. But yeah, my go-to is
Yeah.
you know the style right and of what I do. So it's like I'm gonna stay in that lane some days and be like, oh, but I could do a no comply kind of thing, and nobody's doing it like that right now. Maybe I could do that. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean though. I'm like that too. I have certain things that I just lean into that are more natural and feel good. I definitely used to fight it more when I was younger. And it's just 'cause you want to do every trick, you know?
Yeah.
You see it and you're like, that dude rips, that looked sick, but they're just built different. That trick comes easier, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, take what you can get.
Well, what was your is your like one of the things my son said to me once is like you quit too early. You know, you need to keep working at it.
Yeah.
And I think Bob Rucci's like that, right? Like he's gonna get it, right? He's gonna power on that through on the trick for an hour till he gets it, and he does get it.
Yeah.
I give up a little bit easier, I think, than everybody else. And I'm like, what about you? Like, when you were younger and you wanted to land a trick, would you spend 3 hours on it, or would you do a little bit, kind of come back? Like, how'd your brain process to get that difficult trick? What was your
Yeah.
methodology?
Kind of a little mixture of both. Nowadays, mostly, I'll like. So the way I describe it now to say like Chloe or someone who's trying a trick and they're like in it, I'm like, well, right now just keep going because you've gotten this far, and the more tries you get, the more experience you'll get, and that'll make it better and easy. You're getting closer to the trick because you're trying it. I know you haven't landed it and it's been an hour and you want to give up, but you've made it this far and this is already a win because now you're closer to landing it because you put that session in. You might not land it, but you put it in. So that's been my mentality. But I was more abusive with my skating when I was younger. I'm just hours focused on things, and I would find tricks I loved, like a nollie crook, and I nollie crooked everything all day, all day. Like music, you find an album you love, like this thing's
So
on
you'd lock
rotate.
it in until you had it, like,
Yeah, yeah.
inside
Because
you.
I had tricks I wanted to do on street spots. Because to me, skateboarding, being a pro when I was coming up, was about your video part. I still kind of feel like it is. Because that's something where you go out into the streets and you're not just at a park, but you're intentionally aiming at a trick or a line at a certain spot because of the aesthetics or because the trick it works with the spot or whatever. Like it's your vision of you build a video part, and you find a song that complements your skating or you like, and like it's your little craft you're working on. So I was always doing that. So I'd find tricks that I wanted to do, and then I'd be like, I want to do it on this type of spot or that spot, and then I would just make sure I was super sharp with those tricks until I'd like get it on video, the one I wanted to get on video, because sometimes you don't land it the way you want, but and then until you get it, and then you move on to like another trick or another line, and then sometimes it would just be spontaneous, You just go, the spot tells you what trick to do, you know?
Mhm.
But I always obsessed over certain tricks. But I chip away at shit. Like, it's hard to say that. Like, I used to think I would like certain tricks were fighting my style. Like a frontside flip was hard for me, but eventually I like got it down to where I could do it for an hour straight. Like I would just frontside flip for an hour straight because it would feel good and nobody was skating. It was just me at the park. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, you know. But at first I had to like really change my style to make a frontside flip work because it's hard, you know. It's like learning how to flick with your ankle. Like I don't know. You said you don't do many flip tricks, but when you're first learning to flick, it's like feels unnatural and crazy. And once you get a couple flicks, like I've been watching Chloe recently, she was getting her flick with no wheels or trucks on, just a deck. And that was helping her learn how to flick her ankle because she was able to just pop it and learn the mechanics, and she started getting it down. And I'm like, now you have to focus with the trucks and wheels on because you're going to have to get the pop, then the flick. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
No, that's it. That's helpful.
yeah.
And at your age now, when you want to learn a trick, do you just power through for an hour, or do you kind of do it and
No.
then walk away, come back, and
So nowadays it's like I don't really have a trick I want to learn, but I find tricks. When I warm up and I'm feeling good on my board and I'm hitting things and stuff, I'll just find something new or a new approach, or it'll just lead like I'll find them. They're out there. And I'm like, "Oh, that was different. That was new." I don't really even try to learn new tricks anymore. They just happen if I'm having a good time and I'm like skating with good people and I've like feel good on my board. I'll just be stumbling into something new, and that's always a great day. You know, when you get something new, you're like, "Oh, that was
it's
sick."
the best feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to go back and do old stuff again too, you know, 'cause it's fun as hell. But yeah, sick. I don't know. We cover it. Anything else?
I think we've hit just about everything, right?
Before we go though, I asked a lot of people, so I'm gonna ask you: do you have a top 3 favorite movie?
Top 3 favorite movies?
Yeah, no rush. Take your time. See if you can come up with top 3. I have my top 3, and I always pressure people about their top 3.
Sure. I have a favorite movie. Maybe it's silly, but it's maybe like I go back to this movie every 6 months just because it's fun and I have a good time, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh, Indiana Jones. Right?
Yeah, Indiana
Wow.
Jones. I just always kind of
The original one, right?
the
They made a
first
few-
one.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe it's because I remember seeing it in the movie theaters. You know, when I was a kid, I was like 10 years old.
What's
or
the
something.
actor's name?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Dreamy. He's
Yeah.
a dreamy.
Yeah. Such a handsome guy.
He's a legend, dude. He's Indiana Jones.
I just like always enjoy that movie, I think. So I know it's not highbrow or it's not a like a
No,
film,
that's a
but
solid
it's
one.
just fun.
It has that feel to it. That I like. It's not in my top 3, but I like the Goonies because there's like a feeling and a genre, and that seems like that movie too has that.
Absolutely, right? That's spot on. I love the Goonies for the same reason. I'll watch the Goonies when I'm like, I want this mood, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to get in that mood. So boy,
I'm gonna watch Indiana Jones again now. It's been a long time.
I just
But remember
watched it.
the scene where there's like he's trying to move the jewel or whatever with like the
Yeah.
and he like the weight thing. It's such a good scene.
That first scene is probably the greatest.
Is that
scene
the
of
first
all time.
scene?
That's the first scene.
All
of the
right, I
race.
gotta go back and
The
watch it.
greatest scene. Yes. So much fun.
So that's one. Indiana Jones is a good one.
Oof. Yeah. What after that? Yeah. What a top 3. Jeez.
Okay, I'll buy you sometime. Forrest Gump.
Oh.
People on the podcast have heard this, but and your top 3 doesn't have to be your top 3 forever. You can change it. Like we'll do another podcast, and you might have watched another movie by then. But Tom Hanks, for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
he knew what love was. So
Yeah.
you
That's
can't argue that.
That's a great film too.
They thought he was stupid, but he knew what love was. That one is a great film, dude.
What's your third while I take another sip?
Okay, so one is Sword in the Stone.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's an animation from Disney, and it's a King Arthur story. It's when he was like a 10-year-old little boy, and then Merlin finds him and teaches him about the world by turning him into different animals. Turns him into a fish, a little guppy fish, and puts him in a pond, and he learns about the predator-prey relationship because his other big fish tries to kill him and all that stuff. Turns him into a squirrel to learn about love because he's a boy squirrel, and a girl squirrel like falls in love with him, and then he has to break her heart. Fair play because they're 2 wizards at the end, and they battle it out, and the one wizard cheats, and it's like, but it's like a great story, you know? It's all about King Arthur, and Merlin teaches him to be the king, pull out the sword. in the stone and like, but it's all drawn out. You appreciate it. It's all animation.
Huh.
The original, it's got to be 1970 or 60. I don't know the date on it, but it's
Oh,
an older
really?
one. Yeah, Disney,
Oh.
beginning of Disney, whenever that is.
How have I not seen that?
Sword in the Stone. It's so good, dude.
Wow. Wow.
There's a scene where like Merlin makes they call him Wart, but it's King Arthur. He has to do all the chores in the castle, and Merlin does his magic, and all the shit's dancing around and washing itself, and then they sneak off to learn about the world and like take him on an adventure. So he's not doing chores, but he's actually just learning about predator prey or whatever the lesson was. Such a good movie, dude.
Wow.
Sword in the Stone, the original one.
I'm on it.
So that's two. I got two. But I've had a lot more time to think about it.
Oh boy, yeah, Beyond. Jeez, I feel I'm not good on the spot.
Is it because Biggie's staring you down right
Biggie's staring?
now? Biggie Smalls is just grilling you right now. Gang, gang.
That's the great man. Yeah. I'm feeling intimidated. Like, dude, how do you not know what your second favorite movie is? That's what
Notorious.
I feel.
I bought that blanket a long time ago. I think out in California.
So great.
Yeah, I just recently hang these up to absorb, like, to kind of like block out some of the sound.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to throw something out there.
What am I gonna do? Well, I could go the easy route and say something like maybe The Godfather, but I think that's
Too cliche for you.
probably too. I made my son watch it like 6 months ago, and he was a little like,
It's a sick movie. I love The Godfather.
It's such a good movie. I mean, it's not like the action of today, but there's so many legends in that.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
The filming, the whole feel of it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So good.
We'll put it in there for now.
All right, we'll put
Unless
that in there too.
You can always adjust it later on or next pod.
I'm trying to think where else I would go for like,
So if we're gonna sum up your three, it'd be not Sword in the Stone, Godfather, and what was the first one?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. So that if that's where we're looking at the three, that's the two in there. Then there's room for one more.
Yeah, I'd say definitely Raiders is the most fun. The Godfather probably appreciated and watched it the most times of any movie. And then after that, what would it be?
And I'm Forrest Gump and Sword in the Stone for sure. And I recently took out my third one and replaced it. My third one used to be Finding Nemo. Because it's a epic story about the father and the son get separated and he goes across the whole ocean and battles sharks and jellyfish and all that stuff. And that's pretty just like a sick story,
Yeah.
But that got bumped by Tombstone. You ever seen that?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
good.
About 100 times.
Dude,
yes.
fucking amazing,
Great
man.
movie. I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, dude. Doc Holliday, dude, the best in that whole movie, man.
Nice. Oh, that's good. It's funny you said Finding Nemo because that movie literally popped into my head.
That's a
when you were
classic,
saying
dude.
that. I think I'm going to pick one, though, that it's the movie maybe because I've gone back to, and I don't know that, like I rewatched it recently, but didn't feel as great as I remember, but I love the story, or I love the message or the challenge there. It's Blade Runner. Did you ever watch Blade Runner?
I fall asleep to Blade Runner all the time. It's
do
so
ya?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, just something about I read, the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the book behind it, and just that kind of ideas like, our sentient beings, our robot sentient beings.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Blade Runner 2049?
No. I should.
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
I went to the movie theater twice to see it in the movie
What?
theater. It's so good. Like they really maintain what was great about
the original.
original, but they've got today's special effects and
Yeah, that's probably crazy.
it's so good, and and you got to play it really loud because it's got a lot of dissonant noise.
Yep.
It's like your lady will be like, "What is that horrible sound?" But it just goes with the movie. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that because that one always has me thinking. I'll say Blade Runner. Is
Yeah,
my
that's
third.
a solid.
Yeah.
So Blade Runner, Godfather,
Raiders.
and Raiders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
for
a
fun.
solid. That's a solid top three on the spot. You know what I mean?
It's tough. I'm not good on the spot, Anthony.
Well, just now that you got something sculpted out, now you can you'll come across more movies and you might want to move something around or whatever. But it's good to know. You're caught up. You know where you're at, where your top three might be. Yeah, Tombstone, Forrest Gump, and Sword in the Stone.
Nice.
Solid podcast.
I'm gonna go watch Sword in the Stone since one of those three I haven't seen.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me feedback.
Absolutely.
I loved it, dude. Thanks for coming on the pod too.
Dude, thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Yeah, dude. We'll do it again. Hell yeah.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm looking forward to the next session, my dudes.
Yes.
I'm Anthony Shetler, and this is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode. Check out ALLiNEEDSKATE.com for epic skate videos of the crew, our skateboards, and apparel.